This podcast is sponsored by Magic Rock Brewing. Currently, you can get free delivery on all orders over £40 and 10% of all online orders by using our code of TakesThatChance10.
Jepson's there, Billy in, a goal, Chris Billy, Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Ruby and Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Welcome to episode 89 of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, your Huddersfield Town Christmas number one, courtesy of Richard Kosmala.
Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad. And then I don't know the bit after that, but yeah, it's Feliz Navidad. No more can be said.
How are you doing? So Feliz Navidad was the toast of the town last night, but maybe not a couple of days earlier against Barnsley. One disappointing last-minute defeat, followed by one elating last-minute winner. Joining me in what might be a bit of a bipolar podcast today is radio lead singing sensation, Richard Kosi Kosmala. We were due to have Neil on, but he's got some AMC stuff. So back once again like a renegade master is Mr. Simon Copland. How are we doing, chaps?
Brilliant, mate. It's God, the game's just come so thick and fast. Your emotions are all over the place out there at the moment. But yeah, we've won 9 and lost 9, guys. And I think that is us now, isn't it? That is us. Won 9, lost 9. But it feels the glasses are full, 100% for me.
I'm just trying frantically to grab one more person to get on the to join us. So we've got our 4, and he's relenting at the minute. I'm just seeing if I've managed to bully him into it. But we'll start with the news that Carlos Corberan has signed a new contract. So Carlos is here until, is it 2023? I should really have researched this. 2024. Yeah, 3 years, isn't it? So yeah, I'm looking at the calendar wrong.
Then he'll move on to Bayern Munich. But yeah,
fantastic news. So for me, that's great news. Really impressed with everything that Carlos has done so far. Really impressed with how he conducts himself, how he fits into the club, the ethos, and how he uses the club. I think it's looking like a great fit, and I think you have to give credit to Lee Bromby and Phil Hodgkinson for bringing him in initially, for putting their faith in him, and I think you also have to give a lot of props to them as well for giving him a new contract at the right time as well. So I presume that'll include a pay rise, a well-earned one. What do you guys think then, Simon? What are you happy with this cat? Obviously, you're going to be happy, but it's good news, isn't it, going forward with the consistency of the club moving forward?
Yeah, really good news coming out on, was it Christmas Eve, Christmas Day? I can't remember which. I think it's Christmas Eve, wasn't it? That Carlos and kind of 3 assistant coaches, actually, including Danny Schofield, signed new contracts. I've got to admit, I wasn't quite sure what deal or arrangement they were on previously, but like everyone, really pleased with the kind of start we've made under Corberan, and then the style of football we're playing is really exciting to watch. And to your point, because it won 9, lost 9, it's kind of the way it's going to be, probably for the foreseeable future. I think a little bit, but I think kind of where we all probably are, or certainly the majority of us perhaps expected to be at the start of the season, that's a massive improvement. And yeah, really pleased with the work he's done, given the kind of players he's had to work with, and just hope he's backed in the window, and then we'll really see how good a coach he could be.
What do you reckon, Cos? You must be happy because you've been singing from the Carlos hymn sheet for a little while now.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I think there's no doubt for me that we've made progression. I just think the 2 seasons that have come before it have been pretty dire, to be honest with me, including last season, the Premier League, and probably half of that first season. So I think in our heads, psychologically, we're on a downward spiral. So if we were 1-9 and lost 9 in a, I don't know, after a few seasons of decent football, I think people would be, well, we're not making any progress here. We're, but I think we are 100%. I think it's a great message that he sends out to anyone wanting to join us. If you're a player, you want to know that this manager is hopefully going to be around, if he can be in modern day football, longer than, initially the contract was signed as well. But I think it's great, and I think it sums us up at the moment. I mentioned it on the radio last night that once we take a blow, we come back. Now, the Huddersfield Town of the last few seasons are weak. This team seems to have a bit more about them, and yeah, it was a body blow, wasn't it? Saturday, you can't get any worse than that. A big long throw in, which debatable whether it were legal or not. A flick on against a team that went back to 1980s Wimbledon style, and then another game against a free scoring team, and we won. He's just amazing, and yeah, really, really good. He just feels like, to me, it's just work in progress. Really, the guy's on a mission. There's an end goal. There's players coming in now, and January's going to be an interesting window on that as well. Such a good news for Huddersfield Town, and it's exciting times for me.
I think it's really good news, because I think, apologies, might be putting words into your mouth here, but you said on this podcast previously, could Huddersfield Town match the ambition of Carlos Corberan? Actually, how long would he be around? Would he be gone at the end of the season, even if kind of we weren't prepared to back him in the windows? And I guess we'll see in time whether or not we are, and kind of to what extent he's able to strengthen the squad. But certainly in the here and now, it suggests that Carlos is happy to stay around and sees this as kind of a longer term project, or certainly a mid-term project, and prepared to give it the time that perhaps it needs and warrants. And that for me is quite encouraging. I think this style of football will definitely attract lots of different suitors kind of in the managerial merry-go-round, and no doubt there'll be kind of clubs looking at what he's doing kind of with the future in mind. But I think it's pleasing that he wants to be here for the foreseeable future, and obviously we want him to as well. So long may that continue.
So him and his backroom staff have all signed to 2024. So a good three and a bit years extension. I don't know if it's a 3 and a bit year extension, but they're going to be here for another 3 years and 6 months. Kosi, you look like you're about to spit something out there.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, because obviously there's been quite a bit said about, the weakness of the bench, the backing of Phil Hodgkinson, but you don't put pen to paper for the next 3 years if you're not happy with what's kind of been planned for the future. And we've talked about it, haven't we, that, hamstrung with, Diakabi, Pritchard, or the big earners that are still kind of with us, sadly. So I don't think you will see the best, Corberan's team till a few years, which is really exciting. But I'm just glad that, because he looks like there's no mug to me. He's the man who knows what he wants to do. And he came out of the blue, to be honest with you, on that as well. Just a really nice little early Christmas present, wasn't it?
Yeah, fantastic. So I'm trying very hard to get a fourth man at the last minute here, which is ongoing. That's why I've been kind of dipping in and out. I've had 2 rejections. So I've just waiting for another one. If he says no or doesn't come back to me, what I might do is I might throw this out to the 14 people watching there, see if anybody wants to join. Shall we be brave and invite someone in? Shall we do it? Shall we be brave? I think we should do. It's end of the year.
For it.
End of the year. So we'll throw it in.
Yeah. What a year for Huddersfield Town. I mean, I think if you look back,
we're going to do that shortly, aren't we? But
yeah, it's ended in style, really. We had an amazing win last night, really. What a finish.
Yeah, let's look at the Barnsley game first. Let's bring this back into a bit of an order. So Barnsley, I think, Simon, you mentioned on the previous podcast as well beforehand, you look at the start of the season, you look at the fixtures, and you look through the fixtures and you think, oh, Barnsley, Boxing Day, this looks fantastic, don't you? You kind of look at it and think, yeah, that's one I really fancy. And to be honest, before the game, for me, I was like, this is one way you want fans back in the stadium. I want to be there at this one. By full time, I was thankful that I wasn't. But, Simon, this is one where you really want to get back to normality, isn't it? And get back in the ground for games like this.
Yeah, I'll probably speak for us all when I've kind of said we've had some really good away days at Barnsley in kind of years gone by. Not necessarily always the best on the pitch, but kind of good away days nevertheless, with kind of a lot of your mates, kind of relatively short journey, kind of a lot of time spent in the pubs, etc., etc. And obviously as well, kind of the way it's set up at Oakwell kind of allows for lots of away fans. And Boxing Day is kind of certainly kind of in my world and kind of my circle of friends, Boxing Day is kind of religiously a big footballing day in the kind of sporting calendar. Something to look forward to for kind of when fixtures come out, really. So it would have been great to have been there. Certainly kind of before the game take place, and kind of hindsight's perhaps slightly different view the way the fixture panned out. Wasn't a great game, was it? I kind of remember watching the first half, was quite frantic, quite kind of gritty.
No structure
almost.
to it, was there? Barnsley kind of, I think Huddersfield looked a bit leggy throughout. It's a bit of a quagmire of a pitch, wasn't it, as well? It was really, really sort of sticky pitch as well. And I think Barnsley saw that and they just thought, do you know what, we're going to go, because Barnsley actually play some really good football when you watch them on occasion, on the occasion they're on Sky. But I think they I think they just sort of looked at the pitch and went, do you know what, the best way to get round Huddersfield today is just a bomb. It's just send bombs in constantly. And they just bombarded us with long balls, with diagonals and long throws, set pieces. And Kosi, it was a really difficult one, wasn't it? Especially defending for so long. But Town scored a great goal. The corner routine was a great goal, wasn't it? Usually with Town, I think me and you, we used to just seeing, them stand the ball up on the penalty box and then Boothie or someone usually tries to win the header. But we're not really used to seeing little slick moves from the corner like the one we scored from, are we?
No, really good goal. But moments in the game, because 3 minutes later, Fraser Campbell, 2-0. I'm not sure Barnsley come back from that. Missed. Their heads come up. They equalise. And they're going to win it. And I think the thing that you mentioned there, but we're a bit leggy, Matt. The one thing that I kind of was interesting for me, because I watched their goal back, must be a bit sucker for punishment, really. But when they got that throw in and time had gone past, actually, there were guys bombing into the box, rushing that guy, rushed for that throw in. Our guys were ambling back. I'm not saying they haven't got commitment, because everyone can see this season they can. Probably was the energy. But once a guy wins a flick on in that situation, you're in trouble, mate. You are in big trouble. And so the guy steamed in and kind of got in front of Edmund's screen and we lost. But I think that is the only reservation I've got a bit at the moment with us. I think every time the team's gone physical against us this season, we've not really had the answers. They were brutally one-dimensional with Barnsley, and they're absolutely on a roll. I think we've got to pay them a bit of respect. They're flying, mate. They won last night. They're 1 point off the top 6, which is incredible, really. To think that the last manager's Stuart had disappeared and there were a lot of uncertainty there. They're flying. But when you watched them, I was thinking, I'd rather watch us every week than them. But you've just got to give them kind of respect, really. Second half were appalling as a spectacle. And it's one of those where, do we get out a Town with a point? But I just think, again, I keep having this debate with people, and I think you've just got to accept it, because last night exactly the same. You're thinking last night, we'll take a point all day long. Didn't think we were, that much better than Blackburn, but we ended up winning it because we were pushing forward. And in the same way on Saturday, I just think you've just got to live with us. That's us. I think you're just going to have to live with it, take the Russian smooth. We've said that all season. Unfortunately, just kind of game management and stuff was lost a little bit on Saturday, but that's just the sort of time. We don't draw many, we win or we lose.
Yeah, so there's a couple of points from the Barnsley game as well that I wanted to kind of throw out there as well. And it's not really a criticism of Carlos. It's more of an observation that that not only I've picked up, but other people have picked up as well. And he tends to, it was a game where I thought we looked leggy. It was difficult. Barnsley were very direct, very good. Barnsley making a dash for the playoffs, and more power to them as well. Town, we get to use 5 substitutes now, but in that Barnsley game, and a sort of a theme at the minute is, we don't really see many substitutes before the 70-minute mark. And again, we only saw 2 substitutes again. Do you think this kind of indicates, Simon, a lack of quality or maybe a lack of trust? Or do you think it's nothing like that and it's more a case of Carlos likes to stick rigorously to the plan and see things through to the end with only little changes where 100% necessary? How do you sort of read, and I may have just sprung this on you out of nowhere, but how do you guys, both of you read into that? Is there anything to read into that for a start, or is it just whatever?
I think for me, kind of probably a combination of what you say, Matt, around perhaps a lack of quality and a lack of trust. Obviously, I think I'm right in saying Carlos made quite a few changes early on in the season. against Bournemouth, albeit kind of one of the better, kind of arguably stronger teams in the competition. And probably a lot of those players didn't take their opportunity on that day. And I wonder for that reason, whether he's now kind of a little bit reluctant to throw them in such important games. I mean, if you look at that bench from the Barnsley game, Vallejo on there kind of hasn't played very much whatsoever, has he, since he joined? Kind of 5 minutes here and there. Remains to see what he can do. Pritchard, I think we've spoke about him quite at length on this podcast, kind of in weeks and months gone by. Probably the one, arguably, of the bench that he trusts the most, but hasn't really been able to influence kind of any of the games to a great extent that he's played this season. Diakabi, the lesser the better. Dehaney, kind of, forgive me, but probably an inferior right back relative to Pieper. Cian Harrott, probably lots of potential, but kind of still very, very raw. Critchlow did well in that game earlier on the season, but kind of still, if you think back to last year, it was kind of playing non-league football out on loan, I think. Jayden Brown didn't come himself in glory in Bournemouth, like I say. And then Aaron Rowe, it seems actually to kind of seeded quite a bit. Aaron Rowe obviously came on last night as well, but again, another youngster with lots and lots of potential, but probably not much experience and not someone you necessarily trust to manage the situation. So I think it's a combination of what you say, but a lot of, so a combination of what you say around trust and kind of quality, but a lot of inexperience there, kind of putting on players who perhaps don't have that game management or that experience of game management that arguably you'd want in those situations. I think what will be quite interesting is when we kind of flick forward to is it next Saturday? The cup game against Plymouth. It's either next Saturday or Saturday after. I can't remember which. See how many of these kind of players on the bench he gives a game. The lads there have played a lot of football lately and will need a rest. So that'll be a really good benchmark as to where some of these guys are at, whether or not they are kind of good enough to be able to make a difference in this team going forward, or whether they do need a few more loans and such like to get themselves up to scratch.
It's not charity though, is it? You bring guys on to influence a game. That's why the Diakabi bring an head scratch. You're not telling me that Carlos Corberan for 70 minutes thinking, right, bringing Diakabi on and taking Mbenza off is going to give my team a better chance of winning the 3 points, because evidence of the last 2 years has seen nothing from this man. So what were the point of bringing more?
You might say, Kosi, bringing Diakabi on in place of Mbenza has got a better chance of holding on to the point we've got. In that, I mean, I'm not so sure saying that, but kind of, has he got fresher legs? Will he be able to track back more, get up and down the pitch, close people down? I'm not so sure. I think I agree with you going forward, but
I don't think you trust the bench side. But then you've got to think about this really. Karoma will be back, so that's another one on the bench. Grant will be on the bench soon, another one. Aaron's will be another one. And all of a sudden, the bench has options. I don't think you trust the bench, and with good reason. Pritchard's influenced nothing. Diakabi's influenced nothing. The guys influenced nothing. There's no point. And you know, you often hear, don't you, people like criticising why you bring people on, but I don't have any qualms with it, because there's no one that can influence a game to me. And last night, I think everyone were the same at 6:45. Oh my God, look at that bench. I think I put a tweet out saying, wow, what can we do, there? But the thing is, again, he done, brought players on after 88 minutes. It tells you all you need to know. The people aren't good enough to influence the game, be it good or bad. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah, I think there's some good points there. I think, Simon, you made some really good points as well about structure and trust and everything there. And I think there's probably elements of all sorts there. And I think there's obviously a young bench, and do you want to throw them into a blood and thunder, well, not really atmosphere, is it? Because there's nobody there, but it's sort of a blood and thunder game whereby they've got a couple of 6'5" centre backs who are, sticking their elbows in. Because I thought the Helek, the guy who scored twice, was really good on the day. I thought he looked really, really sharp. He was good at the back, and Barnsley, I know they're our local rivals, but I quite like them, Kosi. I quite like what they're about. I quite like how I know they've got a Chinese consortium there, which they've got billions behind them, but they don't throw money at it. They run them sensibly, and we've seen year on year improvements with Barnsley. And I think I look at that and I just kind of think, fair play. They run well. They've become quite likable in many ways. They play decent football, maybe not on the day against us, but I think there's a lot to like about Barnsley, and I don't know whether that's a good thing to say that or not, with them being a local rival.
No, I think you're right, Matt. I enjoyed their miraculous display at Griffin Park last year, when they stayed up against all the odds on that as well. And they're on a roll, confidence, as we know in football. And I don't think they'll get in the playoffs. But that row is going to be our game. But I know you lot absolutely hammered me on our group last night. But a point at Barnsley and a point against Blackburn, you just chop your arm off. But we got an extra point because we obviously won and lost one. So it's really weird. It's almost psychological, really. It's better to win one and lose one than just to draw two, even though in your head, if you lead Clark, it's two unbeaten and all that. To me, the game's come around so fast. And like I mentioned at the start, we're really good at just kind of forgetting what's happened in the last game and just cracking on with the next one and that as well. It was just such a great win last night that against a good side, Adam Armstrong was a threat all night. And I wasn't too optimistic going into the game, just on the back of the Barnes. Like you said, Matt, we looked a bit leggy, I thought. But again, Huddersfield Town, there just seems to be any time you think this year, doubting them a little bit, they come up with the goods. And put that Saturday one to bed. We need to talk about last night, really.
I agree with you, because I think if you look on paper, at least, I know that the Blackburn team's actually blowers in the table now, but on paper, that Blackburn team's got some big names in it. Lewis Hope is obviously playing in the Premier League.
Their bench side were good. Their bench was
Harvey Elliott obviously were in the squad for Everton.
After his injury, they had meant to change.
Yeah, I know Stuart Downing's obviously not the player he once was and not got the legs, but a very good footballing brain at that level and can certainly pick a pass and has a set piece in him. Whereas you talked about us perhaps not having those options and kind of the experience or the trust, you looked at that kind of Blackburn bench and thought, actually, he's got 2 or 3 here he could throw and who could make a bit of a difference. And I'm not sure their league position really reflects the calibre of that squad. And
we're above them now. Yeah,
I was really pleased last night. Really, really pleased. Kind of think it's a great 3 points, and the challenge as ever now will be to back it up, won't it, and kind of get another 3. That's what good teams win consecutive games, and that's where we've been.
5 home wins in a row. That was another thing I was going to mention, because it's really weird, because in COVID football, it shouldn't make any difference because there's no fans in any of the ground, even though all you could hear last night were Rambo yelling his head off. Jesus, it was like Rambo FM on my telly. Referee. Carlos had changed his accent to a Yorkshire one, but anyway, enough for that. But I just felt last night it was, again, it was just a beautiful Christmas present again, similar to getting Carlos signed up to 2024, Naby Sarr, and I have to say, again, 1-1, it would have disappointing goal when we conceded. I was thinking, I'm happy with a point. Give me a point, we'll crack on. But 5 home wins in a row, we don't. But away form seems to be totally opposite. We can't win or get a point, anything away for love nor money. I think, Matt, do you think that's just a weird coincidence? Because we're winning, it's not as if crowd can affect it, but yet at home, we're awesome, man.
It's strange, isn't it? Because you would think there should be no specific advantage to playing at home or playing away. Yet you look at away, and I don't think we've won an away game outside of October, something random like that. And at home, like you say, we've won 5 on the spin and 5 good wins on the spin. We've beaten Middlesbrough, who were doing well at the time. We've beaten Watford. Sheffield Wednesday were, well, okay, and QPR probably not the best that we've played, although both threatened at points. I don't think there's any sort of rhyme or reason. I just think we may be a little bit more, maybe there is a sort of psychosomatic thought behind it, whereby I think it's more so the running off the man in possession, which is a little bit better at home. Looking at Juninho Bacuna, I think Juninho Bacuna has done really well. Well, not really well. I think he's been better these last 2 games, Barnsley and against Blackburn. I think he, it's easy to slag him off when he plays poorly, but I thought he was better, and he's played better when Lewis O'Brien's moved to the left as well, which is good to see. And Lewis has started the last couple of games, the first 20 minutes quite poorly, and then he's come into it really well. And I think it's the runs from those two off of the ball which carry us further upfield. And I think we see a little bit less of it away from home. I think we can kind of be a little bit looser in possession, but maybe it's a psychological thing. But I don't think we're a million miles away either, because we're not getting completely outplayed away from home. We're pretty much the same home and away. It's just, it seems to be circumstantial where maybe certain things don't go against us. For me, the Barnsley goal, the first one, Naby Sarr pushes Ramad Edmonds-Green into Ryan Schofield and blocks Ryan Schofield from coming for the ball, which is a really strange one. But obviously Naby redeemed himself big style against Blackburn. But the little things like that, and the foul throw, it was a foul throw from Barnsley. You can see when you can pause it at the point where he releases it and his back foot's up. But then again, you've still got to organise yourself at the back, and the front and back was poor on the first defender, and then the Helic comes in and gets ahead of Romani Emmons-Green. There's a lot there still to do, and I think maybe it's just we're a little bit more switched on, a little bit more confident at home. But I don't think we're a million miles away from home, a million miles away from home either. I think they're just little things that maybe just don't go for us. And to be fair, they've gone for us a little bit at home. So I think maybe it's just rub of the green, mate, because I think the performances are quite similar. I think we're just slightly more daring at home running off the ball than we are away. But I don't think there's a massive difference in the performances. I don't know what you guys think of that.
I still think, talk about kind of that situation at Barnsley, I still think looking at a team with maybe lack a couple of leaders, like a couple of people who are really going to organise that back four at that time. You've got kind of 4 people there who kind of, before the start of the season, never played together. People never in this country before. Romani Emmons-Green's very young. Obviously, Naby, Sarr and Harry Toffolo. And I think if you perhaps compare that to teams of recent times, kind of Heffley, Schindler, Lerver, all kind of former captains of their club, Tommy Smith, and at that time the club captain. You had probably lots of leaders on the pitch, lots of voices, and maybe I'm wrong here. I'm not close enough to the team to know that, but just feels like you could perhaps do with 1 or 2 more big voices, kind of people to kind of organise that defence and make sure everyone's where they need to be. You can kind of throw the goalkeeper into that. I've obviously made a really, really good save, but probably still got a little bit to learn organisationally wise as well. So, yeah, being quite critical there, but
aren't we at back? Sorry, Stearman, obviously, yeah. Other players, we have a lot of experience kind of missing, and I just want to kind of shout out positive, really, for me, Jonathan Ogg. I think he's been, in the last month, he's been sensational. He's come again. I really wondered if maybe his time, I don't know, time was up, but he wasn't going to be first choice for me, and obviously Vallejo come in, but he's been sensational. He stepped up to the plate in the last month. He's easily, if we have do we have a player of the month? I think we do, don't we? But for me, he's the one. He's been absolutely fantastic. And again, last night he was brilliant. But he needs more than him, doesn't it? Like we say, with experience. And I think I've had so many arguments with people over Naby Sarr because a lot of my friends don't rate him. But I think one of the other things you've got to think with Sarr is had so many different centre half partners this season. It's hard, isn't it? It's like any forward partnership, defence partnership. You need to understand that. I mean, like, Emmons-Green is in now, but they've only been like 3-4 games, haven't they? It's difficult, man.
I'm still trying to arrange an extra man. I haven't given up yet. I've had quite a few knockbacks.
I always do better at January window, Matt, than this.
It's like the press window, isn't it? Do you know what? I'm going to throw it out. Who wants to join us for the quiz? You two talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to throw it out there I'm throwing it out there now, but we're about 2 minutes behind online. So.
And
Ryan Schofield's save. What a save that was.
No.
Copy, you're a goalkeeper.
Was a goalkeeper, Matthew. Was a goalkeeper in my prime. Struggle to get better at that.
Saturdays were good, but last night's were on a different level. And to me, I think he does feel a really important shot stopper. Again, I've said to Mark Glenn last night when I rung him up, but kind of in the air, I'm not so sure, but shot stopping. I mean, we're brilliant because the power on that shot last night. Was it Armstrong, was it?
I don't think it was Armstrong. It broke someone else in the box, didn't it?
It was Armstrong, I think, in the box who got from short distance. Do you see Toffolo block it with his backside? He flew across, didn't he, with his arms in this sort of yoga position, which was quite funny when you watch it back. But I think it fell back because Armstrong ran with it in the box, didn't he? And he was tackled, and someone had the shot, and then I think it fell back to Armstrong, who I agree with Kosi, he's a player I've liked for quite a while when he was at the England Youths. And he
looks like he's about 38, doesn't he? He's only young, right?
He's about 24 or 5, isn't he? But yeah, he's been around. He's tough paper round, as they say, isn't he? So yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic save, and he made a great save second half as well. Which hello, Tom. Are you okay, mate?
Oh, sorry, I've got you on YouTube and then on here now, so I've just done.
Right. Stick to join, mate. Amateurs. We don't need amateurs on here. Well, you're right, Matt. But again, the buzz that this guy will get off, massively important save, helping the 3 points. It's amazing, and I just think, he's gonna. Keepers are so better when they get older, so we've just got to kind of stick with it. But it's it's a debate, really. God, they're all coming in now. We've got Pozza, but yeah, it's. I'm really pleased, and homegrown guy again. They mentioned a Dalton boy. What more do you want, really, in that as well? So brilliant. But Naby Sarr, we need to talk about this man because he is unbelievable box office, isn't he? I mean, the thing that makes me laugh. I mean, the goal, it's incredible.
How good was it? We've seen, for anybody that's watching online, the reason why everybody's joining at the minute is because we're about to do some fun and games once we finish playing the Blackburn and Barnsley stuff. So Brady, Poz and Tom have joined, and I think we're waiting for Chris, aren't we, as well, who's going to join us. And there is one place going spare that I'm trying to get somebody to get on at the minute. I've had a lot of rejections so far.
Well, his second goal was sensational. Honestly, if you're watching like Lewandowski or Muller or whatever you score that, you're like, that's on the showreel stuff. It was brilliant. My first instinct was offside, but I think there's been a few people on Twitter, haven't they, kind of put the still on, and the Blackburn right back seemed to be playing him on. The other thing that makes me really laugh as well, and I don't know if it's protocols, I don't know if they're just because they're young guys and didn't know what to do, but Sarr scored, he's scorching off, he's slid on his knees. We've got these young substitutes who kind of didn't know what to do. They were like, there was a big distance, wasn't there, between them? I don't know if they're following Boris's instruction to letter the Lord, and it were like, guys, jump on him. But then I don't know if they thought they could. It was just a great moment, really. What a man he is. He's all that.
Just chipping in on that, though, the ball from Peter through to him. Oh. Without that, I mean, as you say, because the finish was absolutely sensational. You'd expect him to be a striker with a finish like that, but that ball from Peter, that little dink over the top to him, great vision and a great goal.
That was nice. Sorry, just going back to Schofield, there were a Blackburn fan who just put a tweet says, Huddersfield fans, your keeper is fantastic, or didn't it? Or just something like that. Really interesting when someone can notice, appreciate just an amazing save, which it was at the time and that as well. It was because it was going with such power and that as well. But yeah, because Sarr is. Where do you think Poz as a defensive? My mate just won't rate him. He won't have it. I was like last night, take it back, you're embarrassing yourself. Look at this goal. my argument would be that, yeah, all right, he's caused the goals, but he's crediting the back. He's done more to influence many town games, and people be shouting, yeah, in a bad way as well, okay, but he's done more this season to influence our games with goals, with clean sheets. He's got a lot of credit in the bank. I know he's made errors, and the trouble is with his errors, they're so obvious and that as well, but he's caused some problems with us, haven't we? We've disagreed, but do you rate him out? It's hard not to love him, I don't think.
I like him. I think he's underrated, Poz.
I think because he's such a character. Sorry, Matt, go on.
No, I was gonna ask you the question as well. Just join in because we look at you as the big ogreish centre half, don't we? As well. Hi, Chris, as well. Just finishing on Naby Sarr as well. So he's a bit of a magnet in the box. I think he's probably a bit underrated in terms of how he deals with the ball into the box as well. You know, when the ball comes in, okay, Barnsley wasn't dealt with by anybody, but in general terms, Naby Sarr seems to be the magnet for the ball in the box, and you would hope so at his height. But I think his defensive aspects in terms of clearances are also underrated by some people. And I think when he's on form, he's an excellent centre-back at this level. And I think as a character, he's great as well. If you look at Isaac and Benz's Instagram, I don't go stalking players' Instagrams quite a lot, you know, just before you do that. But well, not a lot. But afterwards, there's, you know, him and Isaac and Benza. Again, you got to give Isaac and Benza a lot of credit for the delivery as well, for the corner. But, you know, those two in chirping away in French after the game was quite amusing. And it's great to see that. We've mentioned this a couple of times, but it's great to see the characters now emerging from the dressing room. But, you know, it felt like a very browbeaten squad before Danny Cowley got there. And Danny Cowley's, you know, clawed them back, and Carlos has taken on another level. And it's great to see them enjoying themselves and doing things like that on the pitch. You know, Isaac and Benza and Naby Sarr, you know, whatever they were saying in French. It's just great to see in it, Poz.
It is, yeah. I do like Sarr. He reminds me, I don't know if we've said it before, but he's like Effie Sodji. You never know what Naby Sarr's going to turn up. And, you know, some weeks he'll, you know, be horrendous, and some weeks he'll play like he did last night. But, yeah, I think you're spot on. I think he's added something to the group as well. Sometimes we saw under Wagner, sometimes not always the best players. It's about having the best group. And if he brings a bit of energy and a bit of fun, you know, he was doing a little jig last night, and you know, if it brings players closer together, then all that goes towards a successful side. And as you say, it's great to see, as we've not really had that over previous 2 seasons. It's nice to see that bit of camaraderie back within the group. And I think he's one of those, and I think Cos is right. When you're a centre half or a keeper, when you make a mistake, it can result in goals against. And people highlight them probably more than they do on any other position. If a striker misses a couple of chances and you still win 1-0, you instantly forget about those missed chances. Whereas if it's 0-0 and the defender makes a mistake and you lose 1-0 because of it, straight away, is a villain.
Also, it's just a shame that we're not in ground, because he would be a cult hero, a crowd favourite, a chant. He'd be, I'm not saying an Effely, because that, there's only one Michael Effely in, but you know what I mean. After the game, I the warmth, the thing that we'd lost so much, in my opinion, last 2 seasons, the camaraderie between the fans, where it was all obviously there under Wagner, and we lost our way, and players maybe not, coming over to town for different reasons than the love of the club. Just think now it's all. It makes me feel a bit emotional, sad, because I want to hug him, I want to cheer him, and that. But you know what I mean, mate. I think there's a lot there to love and a lot there to want. You just get us back in that bloody ground. That's what I'm trying to say, man.
Yeah, I think last night with manner of when Wednesday, them getting a late equaliser and us going on to win, it would have had that proper bounce around stadium and that buzz. You see it often. Wins like that can catapult a fan base and can catapult a side forward. And last night it was great to get that winner, because I thought we played. I know you've covered it already, but I thought we played reasonably well all the way throughout. We were chatting on WhatsApp, and you could see them kind of getting back into it. But it was great to get that win. And I've been critical of Carlos saying, look, we need to see these games out. I think it was Birmingham when I said, needs game management needs to be better, and it has improved recently. But to go, 1-1 on 86 minutes, and then to get that last minute winner with a centre half scoring, we're very reminiscent of Effely against Leeds. Kind of what the hell's he doing up there?
Right.
But he was there, wasn't he? And it went in, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So
Make
it continue.
Brilliant. I mean,
still trying to get people one more for the quiz. If you know one person that'll join us, anybody will do. So I've thrown it out there about 10 times on the chats.
I just want to kind of reflect
rejections all over.
I just want to reflect on the year, Matt, really, because
yes, Brady, try James.
It's been such a weird year in life. Never mind football. It's been so turbulent, and if you kind of think of Huddersfield Town, I felt kind of when the year started, I thought we were kind of coming out of the slump. We were going to finish kind of comfy above the relegation. As it turns out, it got a bit more fraught on that as well. Then we had the big bombshell of Cowley. The Cowley's been departing. Obviously, the Danny Simpson thing, the kind of shit at the fan. We had the disaster against Luton. The ship were kind of rocking, and then we've kind of turned it all around with a kind of new approach, a new ethos. Obviously, we had the Phil thing where he went on the Twitter and it all kicked off. We've had, obviously, came on here to explain himself. He's been a bit turbulent. So for me now, it just feels so good that there's something positive to get behind. The future's exciting. If we win on Saturday, Christ, 2 points off the playoffs or whatever it is, yeah, we're probably not going to get there. But who's to say not? This team just seems to kind of fight back. There's so much to be positive about, I think. And you look at other clubs in a real mess. Sheffield Wednesday are a joke at the moment. Sheffield United are, in the Premier League. I think when you look around, we kind of come out of this year with so much to like. The only disappointment I keep mentioning is we can't get in the ground, but it's never dull being a Town fan. But that last night just summed it up, from the despair of that goal to the ecstasy of the winner. And honestly, next year, why not? We can have even more fun. There's going to be recruiting. This Grant could be the next
Alan Grant.
Yeah, Carl Grant. Maybe I'm getting a bit too carried away. I do that. You might have noticed, but I just think
it's what it's all about, though, isn't it? It's about dreaming. Yeah. It's about getting behind and getting excited, isn't it? Because you take away the excitement, then what do you have left, really? To be honest, I'm going all sentimental at it. It's the end of the year. This is what I do.
No, I just think, Chris, I don't know what you think, but it just felt like we were a million miles away from anything I thought, especially when Luton had our pants down live on Sky that Friday night. That was as low as it's got for me as a Town fan. But I just felt that Smith Rowe, I mean, what bloody hell, what he's doing now for Arsenal. But that moment, that were almost like bloody, where's this come from, this performance? And then kind of just moved on from there, really. It's, I don't know, I'm just feeling optimistic about Town at the moment and excited, really, for what could be.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more to be excited about than then, isn't there? I mean, that's a fact. I think the key thing is, I think, you know, it was such a big shout and there was a lot of people surprised and sort of blaming the change in manager. He just kept us up. It was a real good job of steadying the ship and all that sort of thing. But, you know, it has brought a new, like a new style and a new vigor about it. And there is a lot more to be positive about. I agree. I think the thing is, it's not, I joined the conversation when we were talking about Naby Sarr. It wasn't a month ago, a month and a half ago, made that horrendous mistake at Cardiff. He makes so it's just around, it's difficult not to get carried too far away either way. I think the trajectory overall is definitely upwards with this regime, and there'll be ups and downs. And I think, like you say, if you think back to David, when obviously I was there, David was obviously had that first season where there were people still before, we nearly went down. I was there, he didn't have the recruitment, he didn't have the backing. He signed a couple of loan players, he signed Kareem Matmores and people like that, and people looking thinking, really?
God, at Elland Road did Kareem Matmore never sully Kareem Matmore after the legendary game.
But that game at Elland Road, going into that game, we were under pressure. I remember going in and speaking and thinking, we really need a win here because people are starting to question, we're playing all right and we're getting a bit of momentum, but the results are no better than they were before. So I think it'll be really, the real big thing for me will be the start of next season. I'll really liken it to, if we end up getting up this season, I'll, putting a good run together or really having a busy January. The recruitment, when you get these managers in who have an ideology and how they want to play in a real fixed, right, this is what I want, this is what I need for every position, rather than, right, just give me what you can give me and I'll make it work. When they've got a real plan, the recruitment is just so much more important. So I really think that, like, the point I resonated most with them because it was your wait till we recruit. That's the exciting time for me.
Yeah. Chris, if I said to you, Rochdale had us pants down in the cup, Norwich beat us after Stearman's balls up, Brentford smashed us, we've lost his first 3 games. If I told you New Year's Eve, mate, we're 15 points off relegation, we're 8 off second, and we're 5 off the playoffs, you'd be like...
You'd be delighted.
How much have you been drinking, man?
You'd be delighted. You'd be delighted.
Amazing.
I think a lot of it is as Chris mentions there, the plan is the most important. And I know it's easy to compare us to the old Chesters down the road because of the immediate Carlos connection. But, we've all got mates who are Leeds fans and they really had to sort of, when I speak to them about, how we're playing and stuff like that. And all that they keep saying to me is just try and stick with it best you can, because eventually it will come together. And even look at Leeds now. They've been playing that way, is it, 3 seasons or so? And one week they'll lose 6-2 and then they'll go win 5-0 because they're just so true to that style. And I think as a football fan, it's really, I personally, don't know about you guys, but I find it really difficult to sometimes maybe accept that, because as people and football fans, you're always wanting just to be better. So you'll see a game and you'll be thinking, why, we could have just done that better. Why didn't we just do that better? Why didn't we just do that a little bit better? And next week you will do that a little bit better, and then that's when you win 5-0. But by the nature of it, you think, well, why don't we change that? Why don't we change that? Why don't we change that? But actually, sometimes it's not about changing it. It's just learning it, and it's just doing it better.
I think that's the key difference, though. Like you've said, there's so much more variance in the performances and the results, and the style so much more extreme. I think I said this once on one of the pods before. I think around with David, we knew exactly what we were, and it was like you've said there. We were very consistent in our performances, very consistent, which led to us obviously nicking loads of games by 1 goal and getting that real momentum. And everyone knew what they were doing. Everyone knew what was going to happen. Slight changes for a game plan, but we knew the performance were consistent. This is where this is different. And this is like, even, it's new for me. And it'd be really interesting when he does get his players, because if it's still going to be this, this sort of style, it's going to be even more exciting for the neutral. When I say exciting, obviously there's not much more exciting than getting to the Premier League. But it's going to be even more exciting to watch the games because you're just not going to know what's going to happen.
Chris, how more difficult is that for the players to take on a new style, game in, game out, versus what you had under David, which was, to your kind of quote yourself there, very consistent, very kind of regimented? Is it much harder for the players to take that on, or is it kind of down to the individual, really?
Do you know what? That's a really good question. I think with the way that this manager does it, and the way that it's almost like a freedom. I think I said this on one of the pods before as well. It's a freedom to go and express yourself and get involved. And, you know, like we mentioned now, you had Naby Sarr staying up after a set piece in the last minute in the box. You have Pippa playing right wing 1 minute, left back the next minute, and been really sort of, it's that fluidity. And I keep using that word, people probably laugh, but I think it's probably a bit more freedom. So they'll enjoy it more. But, you know, with that freedom, you get a bit more variance in the performances. So I don't think they'll find it any more difficult. Some of the players under David and other managers like that can often find it difficult to be shackled into doing the same every week. You know, I think we could all probably go back through the squad that David inherited and saw the ones that left and the ones that didn't, and maybe put 2 and 2 together. But
I love that quote from Naby Sarr yesterday. Sorry, Chris. I thought I was offside at first, but I was thinking I'm just going to finish it and see what happens.
Glad we did.
Bloody hell, well, that finish it was sensational, wasn't it?
It is like you said, though, Chris, it is a lot more exciting because you tune in and you think, what's going to happen? You know, like you say, there's not many. All right, we're not at that quality level like in the Premier League. You know, you watch your Liverpools, your Tottenhams, and, you know, dare I say, even Leeds, they do execute that sort of style of football a lot better. I think I made a joke yesterday, if teams like Liverpool play that style at, you know, university degree level, we're more like sort of GCSE level at the moment because we're still sort of learning it.
Yeah.
But everything takes time, doesn't it? And I think, like, as you've pointed out, the recruitment is so important at the moment. You look at the bench last night, and, you know, there's a lot of young kids on there and players that really shouldn't even be there. You know, your Diakabis, your Pritchards, people like that. They're there to fill a slot basically in case someone sort of gets injured, rather than, you know, going to make a game-changing sort of substitution. So January is a really interesting one. I know we've had many debates. Will anybody go for it? Because we can sit here and say, well, you know, we're only 5 points off at playoffs, but so can probably, you know, there's another 10 teams that have in a very.
That's the championship as well, isn't it? It's just brilliant. I said to the boys, I said it loads of times, but it's the best league. Like, obviously the Premier League, everyone wants to be there, but if you're not in that top 7-8, it's hard graft.
No, that's rubbish.
Because you're likely to get beat, not have many shots. As a fan, I'm talking about, so it's the best place to work. More money to start with. But you know that excitement of the championship where out can happen, and particularly with this manager where out can happen. And I think fans are still going to have to understand that there's going to be these ups and downs. You know, just the last 2 games perfectly sums it up. We lost 2-1 in the last minute one game against Barnsley, really tricky away game. Did well, nothing in the game, and then the next game at home to someone, and both those teams are on the exact same record as us before going into them 2 games. It just perfectly sums up where we're at and where the championship is at, and what it's like.
Coverage football is going to be, it's going to be, the window is going to be so weird. I just can't see anything happening. I mean, these new tier 4s or that tier 5s, money and getting back into stadiums, I don't think that's going to be happening this season. I think Neil's going to be right. So their owner's going to, especially with the TV deal and stuff, and that there's going to be uncertainty of that because Sky won't have as much money because, you know, etc. It's all, I can't see many pressing that button to.
It's going to be difficult, and that's where you're not going to see spending a lot of money on players. You know, at most teams in this level anymore. But you know, you've got to be creative in the market, and you've got to try and find value elsewhere, and there will be value because teams won't be able to pay it, so prices will come down if players want to leave. Agents. Stuff will get manufactured. The market won't come to a stop. It'll definitely slow down, but it'll be interesting to see what markets they explore. Obviously, with David, when I was there, it was the German market. It was a couple of loans from Premier League clubs, which we'd never done before in the previous 3 or 4 managers. I remember a couple of managers saying we could really do with a young player. And it was like, no, that's not the policy. We'll go and get someone from League 2, or we'll take a chance on someone. Whereas all of a sudden that policy changed, and it'll be interesting to see what the new policies end up being, where we're going to recruit from, what age profile and stuff like that.
For me as well, Chris, you obviously draw kind of a lot of comparisons with the time when David took over. If I remember that summer window going into the promotion season, the deals were all done early. Where the Leather was in before the season had finished, Heffley was in early. I think we kind of signed Danny Ward on loan early again. Probably you know much more than me, but I felt like a lot of the business was done and people were in through the door for the first day of pre-season. And he had as long as possible to work with them. And you kind of think with the style that Corberan wants to play, he needs that. He needs as long as he can do to have everyone on that training field. And what's probably different, kind of comparing the two kind of areas, is that I think we're relying on getting a few people out the door, which perhaps wasn't the case under David. I think he probably could go from day one, and maybe we'll need to release the cash from Pritchard, from Diakabi to be able to do that. But let's hope he can get people in through the door from day one, and that.
No one's going to come in for them too. No chance.
I think the contracts are up. I don't know. I can't.
Yeah. No one's going to pay them their wages. We're stuck with them till. Was it June the 30th? There's no doubt that's going to hamstring us.
I think that'd be an interesting one though, because don't forget he's not had a pre-season really, Carlos. And you talk about them first 3 games, but that was pre-season. That was his learning experience. I remember pre-season with David, and some of my busiest days of that whole season were after the first pre-season games when we looked disjointed and people looked like they was getting to know each other. And you know,
Chris, we've got one midweek game home at Millwall. Obviously, the cup it'd probably be a mix and match team, so. At last, maybe some chances on the training ground and rest, and we could be even better. It's so positive, man. I'm so excited for the future.
Good.
Yeah, so John Smith as well. I've seen him make this comment a couple of times on Twitter as well. He thinks Huddersfield are more similar to Johan Cruyff's and the Dutch 1970s total football style, which is probably true because the foundations of tiki-taka are based from Rinus, Chris will know, Rinus Michels, isn't it? The Dutch coach of the 70s who Johan Cruyff learnt from, and Johan Cruyff at Barcelona then brought in a very similar style, and it's what the Spanish have taken. So you can see Corberan's gone through that school, if you like, and Town do play a system whereby the players are very interchangeable, and it's very exciting to watch, and I love it, and so does John on online as well. But I suppose you're all wondering what you are doing here. Yeah, so just give me a second.
8 men went to Moo. Remember that song at Cowshed? 8 men, 7 men, 6. And the sausage roll.
Other guys, are you ready?
We're ready, Matt. We're ready.
I have no idea what's going on.
Are you ready?
I feel like Diakabi just run out to pitch. I've no idea what to do. Where do we go in here? Where do I go?
Right, 3, 2, 1.
Credit for what? After the other one, it'd be nice to give.
That's right. Welcome to the Big Fat Town Quiz of the Year. So I thought what we would do is we could look back over 2020 with a little quiz. So what we'll do is we'll look back in sections, in 8 sections I've got for this quiz here. We'll try and push this through as quickly as possible because obviously with 7 people. Thanks to James as well for joining us last minute. James dropped everything that was important in his life to come onto the podcast and join us. So thanks for James. James' second appearance after he helped us out with the Carlos Corberan thing that me and Tom did, and Brady, sorry, as well.
Seen, Matt. Look at that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable foliage.
I know. It's like Matt Devlin's front room. Is that what's going on there?
That's all right. Well, I had a bit of a panic call from Brady, and I thought, well, I need to calm him down. So I thought,
cheers, mate.
Fantastic. Right then, guys. Yeah. What we'll do is I've got 7 questions per topic. I've got 7 competitors, we'll call it. What I'll do is I'll number you, and what I'll do is I'll rotate the questions. Right, the questions are just random ones which I've made up. Some are difficult, some aren't. It's just potluck how it falls and who it falls for. So what I'll do is the questions will pertain to a certain part of 2020, and then maybe after each section we'll have a slight discussion for 1 or 2 minutes about how that how that period went, if you like. So up first, so Kosi, I'm going to number you number 1 because you're up here. Simon, number 2, Tom 3, Pos 4, Brady 5, Chris 6, and James 7. It's just in the order I've got on screen here, so there's nothing Nothing premeditated about that. Chris, are you all right there? Everything good?
All good here, mate. Yeah.
Excellent. Right. Okay. So pre-lockdown. So 2020, January kicked in. So the first question is for Mr. Kosmala. So kick us off, old boy. Town started the year with a home game against Stoke City. Town turned the game around from 0-1 to 2-1 in the 50th minute. Can you remember? This is actually a really difficult one to start with. But can you remember which Stoke defender scored an own goal to put Town into the lead?
I was going to say, I remember Mooney scoring for us, but
He did, yeah.
oh, that does not count for a prize, though. That does it. Jesus, I'm trying to think of a Stoke defender.
Is there a prize?
Pride.
Pride, yeah. Matt, I have not got a clue, mate.
Anybody want to guess?
Danny Bath?
It was Danny Bath, yeah. So Danny Bath put the one. Sadly, do you know what? Shall we give Chris a point for? Yeah, do you know what? I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna do it this way.
Nearly back for Chris. Do you get it?
It starts already. This is where people need to start drinking with some beers because this could go on for a little while. Kosi, go get yourself a beer, mate. I think because there was another six questions. Number 2 goes to Mr. Copland. Town travelled to Barnsley on the 11th of January and lost 2-1 in probably one of the worst performances of 2020. Who was substituted for Huddersfield at half-time, sparking rumours of a fallout?
Was there not 2 people substituted at half-time?
Who was the one which sparked rumours of a fallout and a potential move?
Well, I think Carl Grant got hooked at half-time, and I also think Jayden Brown got hooked at half-time.
Carl Grant is the answer that I'm looking for, so I will accept that as correct. Do you know what? Actually, Kosi, I forgot. I've actually got 2 sound paddles here for correct and non-correct. Let me just check which is which. Right, so Kosi, because you got yours wrong, you get this one.
The only thing I'll say is I've been brought up with the values of having humility, having some respect, and having a bit of class.
So that's what happens if you get the question wrong. If you get it right, Simon, you get...
Thank you, Feliz Navidad.
Carlos wishing you a Feliz Navidad. Right, so Simon, you got a mark there. Fantastic. So, number 3, Mr. Bradshaw. Who made their Town debut against Brentford on the 18th of January by playing their first 90 minutes of league football since April 2019?
That was away, wasn't it? Was that last Griffin Park game?
Nope.
No. All right. Well, I went to that one, but then I can't remember then. So, this last season, not played since when, Matt?
He hadn't played since April 2019. So, not quite, about 9 months before he played 90 minutes of league football. And it might not necessarily have been for us when he did it either.
No. I can't think. Stearman.
Correct.
Stearman. Oh, yes.
Classic, yeah.
Lovely.
Pozza the Rosa. On the 28th of January, Town picked up a massive 2-1 win at Hull City. Steve Mounier scored Town's winner, but in exactly what minute was it that he did? You'll remember it was very late.
I'm going to go 86.
The only thing I'll say is I've been brought up with the values of having humility, having some respect, and having a bit of class.
96. So it was right at the very end in the 96th minute. Right, so Pozza gets a 0 for that. Braid House. Okay. So, number 5, I'm just making sure this is the correct one. It is. One of Town's best performances in the 1920 season came at home to Bristol City. Which Town player was assaulted in the penalty box in the 63rd minute to earn Town a penalty, which Carl Grant then converted? And they use it quite a lot on highlights on Sky.
For a split second, I thought you were like the 1920 season, as in 1920 the year. I was like, oh, bloody hell.
I do that a lot. 19, yeah.
May as well be.
It was Georgie Brown. Well done.
I know it is, Matt. It's my, my favourite loanee. It's Emile Smith-Rowe.
Thank you, Feliz Navidad.
Correct. Right, Chris. So this one is for thee. So Town's biggest win of the season was their last in front of a crowd at the John Smith Stadium. Carl Grant scoring twice against Charlton and Bakuna scored a thunder twatter for the 4th. But who else scored for Town that day?
Oh, God. No. I'm just going to have to take a pot shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go for Lewis O'Brien.
You always go for Lewis O'Brien.
Anyway.
You ready?
Just the only thing I'll say is,
yeah.
I've been
I think I was there as well.
Of having humility.
Who else wants it? We're going to throw it across. Who wants it? Quick.
Mounier.
Brady.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
There we go. Brady has 2 points all of a sudden. 2. Chris, you still have 1. So the last one goes to Mr. Whittaker. Town's last game in front of a crowd was away at the Chesties on the 7th of March. Give or take 10 seconds, because I'm kind. How long from kickoff was it before Luke Ayling scored in seconds?
In seconds?
In seconds.
Oh,
I'll give you 10 seconds each way if you don't get it right.
How come I didn't get 10 minutes each way?
Because you were way off.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. I remember that and it kind of rings in my mind in not such a good way. I'm going to say 80 seconds.
The only thing I'll say is I've been brought up with the values of
160. So it was just under the 3rd minute, which was great, wasn't it? When you just about found your seat and then you're about to sit down. Well, no chance of sitting down, and then he smacks that in and it's game over after 160 seconds.
Quid or whatever.
So that was pre-lockdown. Long time ago now, guys, pre-lockdown, isn't it? So who'd have thought what we'd be seeing at this time? And one of the things I kind of think of, we're going to go into the transfer window next. So the winter transfer window of January 2020 is next. But for me, I was a Danny Cowley fan. I felt that he was moving Town in the right direction for the majority of the season. But Poz, I'm going to go to you because you were a bit of a fence sitter with it. Did you feel that during this period that maybe Town didn't kick on quite as much as what we expected? Or do you think that's unfair given what he was up against?
I don't know. I think when you look back and, when you take a step back, whenever you get a new manager, you're expecting a little bit of a bounce. I think what he walked into, the morale was literally through the floor. I think that had a massive impact on pretty much everything. He had to pick players up and instill a little bit of confidence. You were never going to be able to turn it around and start playing, sort of free-flowing football or anything like that. I think Cowley throughout that whole season was given the task to keep Huddersfield Town in Championship, and he played a certain style of football to enable us to do that with the tools that were at his disposal. It would have been really interesting actually to see how he would have approached this season. I think I had this conversation on Twitter last night. It would have been really interesting to see how Cowley would have approached a fresh season, albeit a short pre-season, obviously. Would he have continued with the style of football that he had been playing, or would he look to be a little bit more adventurous? He seemed to bring in Toffolo, who likes to get forward. He brought in Emile Smith-Rowe towards back end, who are a forward-thinking player. So, he took a lot of stick, did Cowley, for playing boring football, but for me, he did what he had to do. And I still think it were a behind-the-scenes decision to get rid of him rather than what actually happened on grass.
Because of that Leeds game, that were me and him finished. As I'd lost it with him then. I'd never
like
forget
his big
that
day
night.
out, wasn't it?
I'll never forget that. On Saturday night, I had 2 people who commentated the game for national radio stations that text me, says, "You must be absolutely fuming there," because all he wanted to do.
I think it was the comments after the match were probably worse than the actual
match.
match.
Down and died. He just turned up to get autographs, and to me,
you almost said something different then.
Yeah, I'm gonna drag it on a bit, but to me, he never won me back after that moment. I just couldn't have it.
He was on his knees in front of Bielsa there, wasn't he? Let's be honest.
I think the problem with that is he was put in front of the press, and Danny Cowley's, I don't know if it was a naive moment, but he was asked the same sort of question over and over and over, which was essentially by a Leeds press to essentially what Kosi was going to say, to put a finer point on it, nosh them off a little bit. And he was I think he should have answered once or twice and gone, look, this is the same sort of thing I'm here to talk about Huddersfield. And I think it was just the fact he kept getting asked the same questions and nicely just kept answering it that kind of got a few people's back up. But I think that's something Daniel will definitely learn going forward. And
round two,
I'm sure we'd like to wish him the best. So we're going to go into round 2 at Kosi's request. And what I'm going to do, so people can't accuse of this of any rigging or bias, Kosi, you can pick a number between 1 to 7, and you can have the question which is behind
7.
the number. Number 7 for Mr. Kusmala. It's brilliant. I'm watching people come up with the answers online, but little do they know they're 2 minutes behind, so you guys won't be able to get the answer from them. Which is good. Pause. I can see what you're doing, you sneaky son of a gun. It's not going to happen.
Pause, put your phone down.
Get that phone down. Shit house.
Websites later on, mate. You don't need
Pause hub. Right, number 7. Harry Toffolo joined from Lincoln City. How many clubs has Harry Toffolo played first team football for in his career, including Huddersfield Town?
So in Lincoln, Huddersfield, and Norwich.
Including loans that he's had out. So this is all first team football. And he's had a couple of loans.
2. God, I'm getting some hard questions, mate.
You picked it. This is where I can put my hands up and say, you picked this one, mate.
Man, I'm going to say 2, but I bet it's more than that. But no, it's 2.
He's played for 2 clubs. And you
you
just named 3.
Friend. Brady, are you there?
You've named 3, mate, so I don't think it's going to be 2.
Brady, hello? It's Richard here, your old friend.
Come on, Kosi, have a guess at something slightly higher than, well, a little bit higher than 3.
4.
The only thing I'll say is I've been brought up with the values of having humility.
Okay, for that. Right, who wants to? I'm going to throw this out. Who wants it? Say your name.
James.
James, go on.
I think it's 5.
The only thing I'll say is.
I'll throw it out again. Who wants
Tom,
it?
6.
Tom.
The only thing I'll say is
Chris, right? Because we're whittling down. We're whittling down numbers. I'm not going to throw it out anymore, and that really doesn't help Pause, who actually got that right. So it's 8 clubs. Harry Toffolo has played for. Harry Toffolo has played for Swindon, Norwich, Rotherham, Peterborough, Scunthorpe, Doncaster, Lincoln, and Huddersfield Town. Right then, Mr. Copland, pick a number between 1 and 6.
5.
Where's Kosi gone?
Got upset again. It wrong.
Number 5 for Mr. Copland. Andy King joined from Leicester on loan, but with whom did he spend the earlier part of the 2019-20 season with on loan?
Glasgow Rangers.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
Correct. He spent the start of the season at Glasgow Rangers. So Kozi's on a 0. Simon gets a point. Tom, Mr. Bradshaw, is he still there? All the things have moved around now. Tom, pick a number: 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6.
4, please, Matt.
Number 4 in the January window, Romani Edmonds-Green left on loan, but who did he sign for?
I believe that was Swindon Town.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
Correct.
That was a nice.
I'm smashing this. He's sharking it, isn't he? Pause. You can have 1, 2, 3, or 6. And there's one which you don't really want to pick. But go on. Who are you going to pick?
Centre half number 6.
This is probably the one you didn't want to pick. Right.
I was going to pick that.
There's a reason why you didn't want to pick this, and it's because Florent Hadajanay left the club on loan to play in Turkey. What club did he join?
You have to spell it as well, Pozza.
You have to get the correct Turkish pronunciation right as well, including the accent.
Trap sponsor or something like that.
Is that your final answer?
Turkish? Yeah.
The only thing I'll say is
it might not even be a
I've been
Turkish
brought up with the
team.
values of having humility.
Who wants it?
Chris, I'll have a go. It's a guess.
Go on then.
Gaziantepspor or something.
The only thing I'll say is
one more person can have a go.
Is it Karimspor? Karimspor?
No, I'm not letting you have that.
The only thing I'll say is
brutal.
Florent Hadajanay left on loan to Kasim Pasha.
Yeah.
That well-known Turkish side.
Oh, yeah. It sounds more like a nightclub.
Brady, 1, 2, or 3?
DOS, sir.
Is that 2? I'm
that
joking.
That is me.
Chris Willock joined on loan from Benfica. Having had his loan cut short at West Brom, how many appearances did Willock make for West Brom in League and Cup?
How am I going to know that?
You're not.
It was well
9.
documented at the time. 9?
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say is
Who else wants it?
2.
2, Matt.
Yeah, I was going to say 2 as well. I thought it was stupidly low.
The only thing I'll say is
no.
He made 0 appearances for their first team.
0.
He played for quite a bit for their Premier League under-21 side.
And then he scored against them.
Yeah. Chris, I think you get 1 or 3.
I'll go 1 then.
Number 1, this is a good one I like. Jonas Lussell signed at the end of the winter window and played against QPR in February. How many goalkeepers have Town used in competitive games in the year 2020?
Oh, excellent.
I was quite proud of this question when I put it together.
Yeah. God, I'm definitely going to miss one. Obviously, there's Lussell, Hamer, Schofield, Pereira. I want to feel like there's one more from last season. I'm sure there is.
You don't have to name them. It's just the
number.
number.
Oh, don't I? I'll say one more than that then. So
5.
The only thing I'll say is
Brady.
Go on, Brady.
6.
Who's the goalkeepers he missed? And I'll let you have it.
So who? Joel Coleman. I feel like he always gets a game.
Yep.
That was the one. Was that the only one?
No, one more.
Grabara, Camille Grabara.
Oh, of course.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
Well done, Brady.
Yeah, Grabara.
Right. So Brady sneaks that point in. James, bringing up the rear. You are question 3. Who was Town's first signing of the January window?
Is it Emile Smith-Rowe?
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
He signed 3 hours before Richard Stearman. Or it was announced 3 hours before. So we'll take it from there. Excellent. So winter transfer window. I'm going to go to Chris because you're our transfer expert for this one. Some interesting moves that Danny Cowley made, and the couple in particular were real standout pieces of business. And looking at Mr. Toffolo.
Yeah. I think it was an interesting one. Obviously, people get a bit sceptical, don't you, when you go back to your old club for a signing, but I think he's one that's really paid off. I think I mentioned this before, but he was someone that he was on the radar back when I was at the club, when we were just about to get promotion to the Premier League. And it was a very would have been more of like a project really at that time. But obviously, I mean, he's just gone on from strength to strength, and it's left back's always been a problem whenever I seem to have worked at Town. And it was only even when we signed Chris Lerver, to start with pre-season, I remember them games I've just mentioned there, we were all like, oh my God, he's miles off. He's obviously not played for such a long time, and we're thinking this left back curse is going to continue. And obviously he nailed that position down, and in the promotion season was a real success. But other than that, even in the Premier League, then he was in and out, and it was Congolo, and it was so. Left back's always been a problem position, and it for Town for a long time. So I think that signing is a real will go down as a real success.
Kozi's got himself a beer there as we wait for Pause to come back. Brady, I'm gonna go to you actually, because you are a massive fan of Emile Smith-Rowe. Just what kind of impact did Smith-Rowe have after signing from Arsenal? I think Huddersfield fans laud him quite a bit, but I felt he was in and out, but more in than out, if you like.
Yeah, because I think, well, you know I'm a big fan of him. I think there was the rumour, wasn't there, that they couldn't play him 3 games in a row, basically, in like a big, 2-game week. But I think the first time we kind of saw what he could really do was that Fulham game, where we lost 3-2 and he kind of, 3-0 down, and he kind of ran the show, really. But, cracking player. And, I joked to you and Chris, and I'm sure James is sick of me talking about this, but there was I knew it was never going to happen, but I was, he didn't get any games for Arsenal till about 2 weeks ago. And I was like, oh, could we get a cheeky loan again? But now obviously he's playing for Arsenal and still in that, Mesut Ozil shaped hole. So, he was a fantastic player. I think, well, as I said to you, if we had him this season, I think we'd be doing a hell of a lot, even better than we are doing. And I think if we'd had him I don't think he's that much of a game changer. If we'd had him for the full season, I think we could have been I'm not saying the playoffs or anything like that, but a bit safer than just 3 points off. But yeah, love him. Great player. I think he'll, wouldn't be surprised if he plays for England in the long term.
Right, then let's move into post-lockdown. I think what I might do is I might go back to front on this one. So we'll start with James and finish with Kosi. take the pressure off Kosi a little bit there, I think. So James, we'll go with the same again. We'll go 1 to 7 again. James, you can pick a number between 1 and 7 for the first question. And this is, so we're going into the post-lockdown 1920. We've had the 3-month break from March to June when we came back. I didn't miss the I'll be honest, I didn't miss the football. It was a really bad way to sign off from football, if you like, losing where we did. But for me, I didn't really miss it too much. I don't know how you guys felt at the time, but it was just a bit drained and fed up with Huddersfield Town on some level, even though we'd beaten Charlton the week before. But I felt a bit refreshed for this. You guys are nodding, so I'll just keep it at that. But James, give us a number, and were you sort of the same as well? Were you refreshed with coming back 3 months? Could you have done with that 3 months off?
I mean, I went to the Leeds game, and yeah, it was just one of them, similar to what Kosi said. You did leave with a bit of a bitter taste in your mouth. I actually remember someone really bizarre now, a Town fan, lowering a mask to drink like a pint of Strongbow dark fruits in like a crowded away end at Ellen Road, which was a bizarre scene to look back on now. Yeah, in terms of the lockdown, I think I was more just anxious that we actually were going to go down just because of the way we sort of went into it, really. And then those anxieties were sort of furthered by our performances at Wigan and Luton. And yeah, and when I think back to it, it's not really a good time at all for us. And yeah,
Null and Void was definitely the right answer, wasn't it, on that one, James? So what number are you going to give us?
I'll go for number 7.
Numero 7, post-lockdown. Against Millwall, Scott High made his Huddersfield Town debut as a 77th minute sub. Who came on after 45 minutes, replacing Aaron Rowe for his Huddersfield Town debut? And it remains his only appearance.
I really don't have a clue who this is. This could be anyone. Worth
a guess before I throw it out there?
No, literally don't know. No clue.
Anybody want to guess?
I'll jump in. Is it Mike? I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly. Obiero?
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
Mike Obiero is the man. Well done, Simon.
Nice.
Decent point for you there.
Very
Decent
good
point.
That is some knowledge, is it? Never even heard of him.
He's on loan at Colchester, Carlisle at the minute. Pause. He's played. Clibbins has taken him under his wing at Carlisle, so he's up to date on the best steam trains at the minute. So good old Micah. Right. So next in is Mr. Markham. You can pick from numbers 1 to 6.
I'll go 3.
Number 3. Huddersfield Town beat Birmingham City 3-0 in the third post-lockdown game. Carlon Grant scored and missed a penalty. He's only missed for Huddersfield Town. How many penalties did Grant score during the 2019-20 season altogether? There you go, Brady, if that makes it better.
It does.
It was a lot, wasn't it? 8.
The only thing I'll say is
I've been brought up with the values. Yeah, I'd have said 8 as well.
I'll throw this out there. Who else wants to go?
7. Play it. Feliz Navidad. Cheers, mate.
The only thing I'll say is...
go on then. 10.
Right, Tom's is the last one, and it's...
The only thing I'll say is...
According to Transfermarkt, Carlon Grant scored 6 penalties, which were against... hang on. Yeah, 6. I haven't written down what they're against. Right, so Chris gets a 0 for that one. Braid House. What number are you picking, Brady?
What numbers have I got, Matt? Sorry.
You can pick any number 1 to 7, apart from 7, which is picked by James, and number 3 by Chris.
Go on, Brady.
5.
Number 5. When Town beat West Brom 2-1 to stay up on the 17th of July, who played at right back?
Bakuna?
The only thing I'll say is
I'll throw this out once. Who wants it?
I'll jump in again. Forgive me.
Simon.
Is it Trevor Chalobah?
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
Trevor Chalobah.
Played really well, didn't he?
Sai's having an absolute stormer in this round. Sai is the post-lockdown king. Okay, we're moving on to pause. Pause. Time to get off the mark, buddy.
But I've got 2 right, but you just haven't counted them. Number 1
is Andy Booth. Right, number 1. Who was Town's first game against post-lockdown?
Pause, you remember it, mate.
You've just been mentioning it about 8 times.
I know, come on.
Pause, I'll give you a clue. You abused someone after the match.
It could have been anyone. Could have been.
Of a very important stature at the club as well.
I mean, Matt, I don't want to be a Lampard here, but are we letting other people help each other out?
No. Shut up, cousin.
Really, I'm on 0.
Although Pozza's on 0. He needs one.
Only one ginger could win, Pozza.
He needs one mulligan. Come on, Pozza.
We've mentioned Luton that much. I know it's not Luton, but I'm going to say Luton.
Oh,
say is
Wigan.
Wigan. Give everyone else a point.
You know that.
Cozzy, you need to say your name. I'm going to give Cozzy a point for shouting Wigan out. He knew who it was.
No, I said I want a wig on my head, but there we go.
You can have mine. Right, Tom, Mr. Bradshaw, you can have 2, 4,
go for 4,
or 6. Number 4.
Go for 4 again.
After the Birmingham City game, Town hit a dry spell. How many consecutive games after Birmingham did Town fail to score in?
4.
I'm going to go Rod Stewart on this.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
4 games.
Bloody hell. I've been well lucky in this quiz so far. I've just guessed everything.
Metzke un cartoon draw artist. Metzke un artist, innit? He knows his stuff, man.
Sai, you've got a chance for a hat trick here for 3 points in this round, which would be
easy.
Right, my connection's become unstable, so bear with me. Right, Sai, I think you've got 2 or 6.
6, mate.
Town lost their last game of the season 4-1 at Millwall, due in part to a rampaging Murray Wallace. Who'd have ever thought he'd have said that? Who captained the club for the very first time that day?
Oh, Sai. Do you want to phone a friend, mate? I'll give you my number.
Say that again, Simon.
Lewis O'Brien.
Rod's going.
No.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It was Lewis O'Brien.
Ah, brilliant.
Hat-trick hero.
Chris Markham's hero, I think, is Lewis O'Brien.
Yeah.
Right, Cozzy. You are lumbered with number 2, and it'll be a question that you would love. Who had Huddersfield Town just lost to when Danny Cowley said, "Huddersfield Town will be relegated over my dead body"?
Luton.
The only thing I'll say is I've been brought up with the values of having humility.
Who wants it? I'll let one person have this. Jump in with a name quick.
James,
me.
Go on, Chris, you have it.
Bristol City.
I don't think we played Bristol City post-lockdown.
Or was it not post-lockdown? He did say something random then, didn't he?
It wasn't Bristol City, and it wasn't Wigan either. So I'm not going to throw it over anyway. It was after Nottingham Forest on Sky.
Oh, was it?
So he said that in his post-match comments. Right, so
podcast after that game, the better. You what, Chris?
That was my debut, mate. That.
Chris, did you remember what happened? And it were like tight, everyone was jumping off.
Well, it was me and Brady holding the ship.
I know.
Yeah.
We met in 3 seconds earlier. We were having a chat.
Yeah, no, it was just like, so Chris, I've never met you before, but it's really interesting that we lost 3-1.
Inside.
I think I called you Brad.
Yeah, you did. It's all right, Craig. Don't worry about it.
And now you're the best of friends, ain't it great?
This is going
right.
well,
So, round 4 is all about the new man, but this is the point now where Danny Cowley was relieved, and Danny and Nicky were relieved. At the time, I didn't agree with it. I thought it was I wouldn't say mistake. I just thought it was overly harsh, and I felt he deserved the next season. It'd just be interesting now because we've got 1, 2, 3, 6, 8 people on this. It'd be interesting, just for a show of hands, who at the time thought Danny Cowley should have remained in post. Just a little hand show. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You were on the fence, weren't
in
you?
fact, no, I'll go that. Let's go. Let's commit.
And who thought he should have been given Das Boot? Cos. That was about it. See, in hindsight, Mr. Cosmala's sat there lauding it now. He'll probably ask for another point on the quiz. But in came Carlos Corberan. And what did we know about Carlos Corberan? And what do we know? Let's find out. So the next round is all about Carlos Corberan. And I think I'm going to rejig the order and start with Kosi again. So, Kosi, pick a number 1 to 7.
4.
Number 4. So this is all about a Spanish coach, Kosi. So if you get this wrong, I'll be very disappointed. The whole
Stops.
thing. Right, number 4. In 2015, this isn't about a Spanish coach. In 2015, Carlos was assistant to which former Italian international at Al Nassr?
International. What, Italian international football player or manager?
Yep, player. Or former player at this point in time.
Jesus, Matt, what have you got against me tonight?
You picked it.
I think I know this.
Same.
Go on, Chris. Can I phone a friend and that? Yeah.
Only if I can have the point.
No, but you can give up and Chris can have it.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I'm
Brady is itching to get involved.
Yeah.
No, Brady House has nipped in before. Go on, Chris.
Is it Cannavaro?
Rod Stewart's at it, and
Thank you, Feliz Navidad.
It was Fabio Cannavaro.
Only because we did the research for that bloody video, Matt.
That's why I didn't let you have that.
Yeah, I did all the drawing, so it's up here as well.
Yeah, Tom, Simon, you are next. Pick a number between 1 and 7, please. Not number 4.
2.
Number 2. How old was Carlos Corberan when he retired from playing football?
29.
The only thing I'll say is
Go on.
Who wants it?
I think
Tom?
he's stupidly young, and I think he was 20. I'm going to say 23 or maybe 24. I'll go 23.
I love how Tom knows the answer and he's trying to just drag it out like he doesn't know. You know
Thank you, Feliz Navidad.
There you go, correct. So a point for Tom. And Tom, ironically, is next.
Yeah.
Or maybe not ironically. Tom, what number are you going for?
Have we had 4 yet? Has anyone picked 4? I'll go 4 again.
We have had 4, yeah.
All right,
We've had
5.
And you can't.
We had 5 as well.
We have had 5. So including... we haven't had 5, sorry. No, we haven't.
All right, okay.
Including Huddersfield Town. So including Town. How many head or manager roles has Carlos Corberan held in senior football?
Ooh, that's a good question, isn't it? So, like,
my internet might have got a bit funny there. So if you didn't get the
coach,
question,
head coach, not like assistant coach roles. If that's the question,
yes,
I think
not assistant. So head coach, main
so
man.
Are we
like
doing
Town,
including Town or other than Town? Did you say?
Yep, including Town.
Oh,
including, yeah.
I think it's 1, but I'm just going to go 2. I'm going to go 2 because there might be a sneaky one in there too.
Including Town?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Including Town. Let's go for 2.
the only thing I'll say is
it's 1, isn't it?
I've been brought up with the values of...
I'm going to throw this to someone that isn't Brady because Brady did the research, so it feels a bit unfair. Anybody else want one guess?
I'll go. Is it 3?
Thank you, Feliz Navidad.
It's 3. He had a job, obviously Huddersfield, and he was head coach of Doxa and Ermis Aridipu, the well-known Cypriot league side.
Good team then. Good team.
Ermis Aridipu, the greatest team in football the world has ever seen.
My second team then.
So Chris has got 2. Chris is on for a hat trick this round as well. So Pozza, you're next. What number are you going for?
Have we had 2?
Yes, we've had 2.
I picked 2.
Number 1.
Number 1. This is my favourite question of the lot, Pause. You'll like this. We all know that Carlos Corberan came from Leeds United. But in what Leeds-ish-like town was Carlos born and raised in?
Ooh.
What Leeds town? So, like, it sounds a bit like a Leeds, somewhere close to Leeds, basically.
No, but you would associate this type of town name with Leeds.
Wankerville.
See, you're thinking along the right lines.
I've no idea. Chestington.
If you shorten that, I'll give you it.
Chestington.
Brest. No, I don't know.
Thank you, Feliz Navidad.
I'm going to give you it because you haven't got a point yet. But
Thanks, mate.
Carlos Corberan was born and raised in Chesty. Believe it or not. So
close.
Carlos Corberan is a Chesty. Brady, what number are you going for?
I'll go for 3. If I don't get this right, I'm giving up.
Do you know what? This is actually the most difficult one, I think, of the lot.
Oh, thanks for giving me a way out there, Matt.
Well, you chose it. This is the great thing about you choosing these. We all know him as Carlos Corberan, but what is Carlos Corberan's full name? He actually has a surname on the end of Corberan that doesn't get mentioned.
Carlos Corberan Valet.
Oh, he's got it. He's nailed it.
Thank you, Feliz Navidad.
It is Carlos Corberan Valet.
Just because when I started doing the articles, I couldn't get the accent on his A, so I had to Google Carlos Corberan every time, and that's how I remember.
Right, it's hat-trick time for Mr. Markham. So I think you can have 6 and...
I'll have 6.
Yeah, I think it's 6 and 7, which is left. So yeah, number 6.
Yeah.
In Town's last pre-season friendly against Manchester United, Town found themselves 2-0
Manchester
down.
United under 23s, that's very different.
Yeah, Man United under 23s. All right. I was trying to go for the more sort of exotic sounding thing to try and make us a bigger club than maybe what we are. But Town found themselves 2-0 down early on against a strong Man United side. Who did Carlos pick as a number 8 that day, who then got Town back in the game by scoring to make it 2-1?
Oh, I remember the type of goal it was. I remember thinking, why is he playing there? Wasn't Diakabi, was it?
Do you honestly think Diakabi scored a goal?
God.
Bloody hell, man. He hadn't scored for 3 years. Try again. No, not taking that as a serious answer.
My knowledge of the pre-season friendlies is almost non-existent. I'll guess again. Phil Starbuck.
I'm going to throw it out there. Who fancies it? Pause.
Yeah,
I'll give it pause.
Was it Karoma?
Yeah.
Tom?
Well, I was going to say that because Karoma definitely scored.
Did he score?
Karoma did score, but he scored the 3rd goal. The first one.
Let's say Benza.
Simon's got it right. It was Alex Pritchard.
Oh, he scored a free kick, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did.
Yes, he did.
I was thinking of Karoma's goal.
Right. So James, bringing up the rear. I think you've got number 7. So how old is Carlos Corberan? And it's all right. You only have to go years. You don't have to go days on this one. I'm not that harsh.
I'm going to go 36.
The only thing I'll say is
32.
Kosi.
32. 32.
The only thing I'll say is
34.
Who said 34? Tom.
The only thing I'll say is
38.
The only thing I'll say is
Pause.
39.
The only thing I'll say is
Keep saying these only things.
Right, stop it. A lot of you.
23.
37. That's pretty much the only one in the 30s that none of you guessed. It's 38 in April, Brady. But there we go. Right. So Carlos Corberan. I'm delighted with Carlos Corberan and what he's producing at Huddersfield Town. Tom, you seem to love to draw him. He seems to be the object. He's your French girl, if you like. Yeah. How good has Carlos Corberan been for Huddersfield Town?
Yeah, I do love it. I'm to say I'm watching, actually watching it on a screen is actually exciting. I'm surprised by that. With no fans in the ground, I really liked the Cowleys, and I thought they would be successful eventually. But watching their football with no fans in the ground wasn't as exciting as watching this football, if that makes sense. Because I do think fans in the ground sometimes make games that are a bit rubbish a bit more exciting. And some of the like I said earlier as well, you don't know what's going to happen. Barnsley game, I don't think we played particularly bad, but you just didn't know what was going to happen. So I'm loving it. I am loving it. I can't wait to get back in. Let's just hope it's in the next few months maybe.
There's a certain Mr. Cosmala that can't wait to get back in either, for sure. Carlos is he loves anything Spanish, paella. I can't even think of anything else which is Spanish, but parasols. There you go. Something Spanish. I might have just made that up. But Carlos Corberan doing wonders, and Kosi is certainly a big fan as well. But I'm going to go to you first for the next one on the quiz. So we're going to go from September to October, these months. So Carlos has got his feet under the table. There's a particularly easy question in amongst these 7. And I'll give Mr. Cosmala first go at between 1 and 7.
I'm like Sheffield United, mate. I can't buy it with on a point. Number 4 again.
Number 4 wasn't the one I was thinking of as easy, but okay. Town suffered back-to-back league defeats in October against Preston and Birmingham. You'll remember those. How many times have we suffered back-to-back defeats this season?
Three times.
The only thing I'll say is I've been brought up with a value.
Throw it out once. Say your name.
I'll go.
Chris?
4 times.
That'd mean we'd lose 8 games.
The only thing I'll say is
we've only lost back-to-back games twice, which effectively is 4 games, and that was at the very start against Norwich and Brentford, and against who did I say it was against? Preston and Birmingham. So twice. So it shows a great bounce-back ability, like you said. I think Kosi on the pod when you mentioned Ian Dowie.
That's right. It last hour or so, isn't it? Because this quiz is going well, isn't it?
So Kosi's on and on.
Man, I think I need to
Simon.
Watch Gogo.
El nombre.
2.
Number 2. Okay. This is fairly easy. When Town beat Nottingham Forest for our first win, what league game week was this?
Fairly easy.
I told you some of them were easy.
Matt,
you picked it, mate. You picked it. Simon's struggling.
3.
Oh.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It was the 3rd game of the season. Tom.
Give me any number that's free, Matt.
Any number that's that's free. Let's have a look. So we've had number 2, and we've had Kosi pick number 4. So let's go in between. Let's have 3.
Right.
This is quite easy. So they're getting easy because of a recency bias, which is something Chris Markham likes to throw in when Brady wins the poll on our preview shows. And I agree fully 100% with Chris when he does say that as well. Right, number 3. Town recorded their first away win on the 17th of October, beating Swansea 2-1. Who scored Town's first goal?
The first goal was Toffolo, wasn't it?
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It was Harry Toffolo. Pause.
Yes.
Oh, you had pick number 1.
Number 1.
Who knocked Town out of the League Cup?
Rochdale.
Way.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
Yes! We are staying up. We are staying up.
Excellent. Brady, you can't have 1, 2, or 3 or 4. So you've got 5, 6, or 7.
6.
Number 6. Who scored his first goal for the club in a convincing 3-0 away win at Millwall?
Peeper.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
Such a crap goal.
Chris, 5 or 7?
7.
Who was named Blue and White Foundation Player of the Month for September, October? So it was a joint award. Well, not a joint award. It was the joint months. It was one player.
Peeper again?
The only thing I'll say is
Pause.
Fraser Campbell.
The only thing I'll say is
I'll throw it one more time.
Brady.
Go on.
Toffolo.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It was Harry Toffolo.
Campbell usually wins it, doesn't he? Because he serves out breakfasts. Not for his footballing ability, but he does a lot of community work, does lad.
He's a good lad. Right, so James, you're left with number 5, which is Isaac Mbenza scored his first goal of the season against Birmingham with a free kick. How many goals has Isaac Mbenza scored for Huddersfield Town since he signed? I'll give you a clue. It's not double figures.
Oh, you brought him on last minute and you're giving him all the hard ones.
He's not had a chance to research like you, Brady.
So he got one against Man United, didn't he? Just showing my work in.
Birmingham.
Literally the only one I remember pre to this season then. 2 free kicks, probably another one. 4.
Thank you, Feliz Navidad.
He has scored 4 goals. So Isaac Mbenza has got 4. So nice one, James. Right. So September, October seemed to go quite well. There were a couple of things that we picked up on early doors, which we liked a lot about Carlos, but a couple of things that which we looked at and we thought, you know what, maybe things could be better was game management, because everything seemed a little bit basketball to and from. What we saw during September, October was massive improvements towards this. And another thing, which I cover a bit later on, actually. Another thing is set pieces, which became a bit better later on. Were you impressed during that period with what Carlos served up and Town served up, really?
Yeah, I just thought it was refreshing, really. And, compared to what... I wasn't a big Cowley fan. I've been obviously known for that. But, yeah.
Just there's a swear box. There's a Cowley swear box with your name on it where you have to put 50p in every time you mention him on the podcast.
Obviously, over the years, you see some managers come and go and you can't really see what they're trying to do. What's the identity, the DNA, kind of they're trying to stamp on the club. And you could see that early on. Even that Norwich game where we obviously bad error from Stearman, you could see what they were trying to do, but you just wondered if A, the players could buy into it, B, were they good enough to kind of can Jonathan Ogg, for example, which is proven, can he kind of cope with his style and as well, and can Fraser Campbell, 30 plus, can he kind of use has he got the energy for what he wanted to do in that? Also, it was really interesting. But the Swansea game was a game changer. I mean, don't know how they're doing tonight, but I think they can go top cat there. But yeah, when we won there, we never win at Swansea, hardly ever. So it was just an amazing win. And you just need. I think it's like anything in it, like in any job. If you're a new manager and you're kind of an employee, you want to see a bit of reward for buying into something early on, don't you? And whether it be I don't know, praise or something like that as well. But the fact that we can kind of win, obviously Fraser Campbell's goal against Forest is, I think he got on the Sky Bet wheel, didn't it? Along with Ayling. It was weird, wasn't it? Ayling's goal, like one of the goals of 2020, and then next were Fraser Campbell. But yeah, no, it was good. And obviously it's just kind of rolled on from there, really. So yeah.
At the end of October, we saw the transfer window. So this round, it's 6 out of 8. So I'm going to go through this one quite quickly and not throw anything out to you guys, because I'm aware of the time and we need to probably bash through this as it's coming up at 10 o'clock. It's 0-0 as Swansea versus Reading with 8 minutes left, by the way, Kosi. Right. Okay. So transfer window. Who should we go with first? I'm going to go with Simon first. Pick a number 1 to 7.
Number 1, please, Matt.
Number 1 is Huddersfield Town released how many first team players on the summer retained list? So this is freeze. This is people who were released, not people who we've sold or anything like that. So Carl and Grant doesn't include on this.
What about people whose loans expired?
Nope. Freeze.
No.
Contracts expired, not retained.
Okay. 5.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It is 5. I thought someone might get this wrong because Danny Simpson left pre-retained list. Otherwise, it would have been 6.
I was going to guess, Matt. I won't lie.
Decent guess. I'll give you that. Give you that. Pause.
Yes, mate. I'll have Tommy Cowan, number 3.
You don't really want this one. This is like the most difficult one of the lot.
Oh well,
you and Kosi. I don't know what it is. It's the Aussies, picking the wrong numbers. Camille Grabara is now on loan at which Danish league side?
Oh Jesus Christ!
Think of Madness. The band.
One Step Beyond. Is that a team?
No, but sing it. If you sing one of their songs in a Scottish, this is so bad as a clue. But if you sing one of their songs in a Scottish accent,
I'll be honest, this clue's not really helping.
No.
Sing it then.
FC Bacon.
C Bacon.
FC Bacon. They have bacon in Denmark, don't they? That's a guess.
Aarhus. In the middle of our street. There you go.
Yeah, it's easy when you know the answer.
Right. Next is Brady. Pick a number, please.
6. Or has that been taken?
Nope. Karel Eiting joined from Ajax. So far, he's made 18 appearances in the Championship for Huddersfield Town. Has Eiting played more Championship games for Town or more Eredivisie games for Ajax?
Oh, he was injured for ages, wasn't he? I'm going to go Town. I think he's played more for Town.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
He's played 18 games for Town. He's played 17 Eredivisie games for Ajax, but he has played Champions League. Okay, so a point for Bradshaw there. Next one, Mr. Markham.
Yeah.
El nombre.
Has one gone?
Yes.
2 then.
Ramadan Sobhi, the lesser spotted Egyptian international, left Town to join which Egyptian side? And I'll give you a clue. Everyone thought it was made up.
Jesus, mate.
What's Egypt famous for?
Pyramids.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
Ramadan Sobhi joined Pyramids FC.
No way, I'm going to say that as a joke.
Oh, seriously.
It's a bit like your FC Bacon, that. If you just said it for
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. James, what number have you got, mate?
We'll go for 7 again.
Okay. This is quite an easy one. Joel Pereira joined on loan from Manchester United. But where did he spend the previous season on loan, whose fans cruelly gave him the nickname of Spaghetti Hands and Poppadom Wrists?
Is it Hearts of Midlothian?
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It is Hearts, yeah. Okay. Cosbar. You can have 4 or 5. One of them. You didn't want to pick this one. You wanted to pick the other one.
Can he get one right? Can he? Come on.
Trevor Chalobah is now on loan at which French side? You'd have got the other one right as well.
Yeah. I'm going to have a guess.
Think of
Nancy
Nigel.
or Nonce.
Think of Nigel Nonce. Who are you calling a Nonce? Think of Nigel Clibbins. This is a really tenuous one.
Lorien.
No, I don't mean think of Nigel Clibbins when you say Nonce. I'll have to scratch that out. But in terms of what team?
Carlisle.
Lorient. Is it Lorient? Yes. I was thinking Orient Express trains, but Lorient is where he's on loan. It was a really tenuous bad one.
It's the first.
He did. I think he said it.
Yeah, second time though, Brady. But
Tom,
if you watch it repeat, I've got it right.
Right, so Dudley Lewis. Right, Tom.
Why am I named after a 1980s Swansea left back, by the way?
It's because he named Dudley Lewis. Oh, dear. Tom, right, the final one is Alex Vallejo joined on a free transfer, having left which Spanish second-tier side? You see, Kosi had got this.
Yeah, Kosi, what's the answer?
And I'll tell you what, Tom, if you don't know this, I'm going to throw it to Kosi.
Yeah, give it Kosi, because I don't know it is.
Kosi, who is it?
Fuenlabrada. Yeah.
Correct.
It's like Spembra Baths, they've got a stand like Spembra Baths, like Spembra running chat pods, like that stand.
Yeah.
That's it, mate. That's all they've got.
A bit like Bristol Rovers.
Yeah. So he's a climate. That's why he's not in team, because he's getting used to like 4 stands and stuff.
Should have sent him on loan to Oxford or Bradford. Right, November to December.
Yeah, Oxford. Still the answer.
No, it's still haven't filled that in at the end. No, it's still got cricket side screens there. Right, so November to December. So bringing up to the most recent period now. So this is where we're into the second to last round. So let's go back to the first format, and we'll go Mr. Kusmala, 1 to 7, please.
3.
Number 3 is, who was the Blue and White Foundation Player of the Month for November? He had a great November, scored a couple of goals.
Josh Caroma.
The only thing I'll say is I've been brought up with the values of having humility, having some respect, and having a bit of class.
Who wants it? I'll throw it out once.
Fraser, Campbell.
The only thing I'll say is
nope, it was Carol Lighting. Right, Simon, number please.
1, please, Matt.
Right, so this is November to December. Town started November with a 2-1 defeat at home to Bristol City after going 1-0 up. How many times have Town lost a game from a winning position this season?
3.
the only thing I'll say is
Anyone else very quickly?
4.
Who said that? Brady, was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
4 times Town have lost
God,
from a winning position.
Such a dick when I'm doing a quiz. It was me.
Right, Tom, pick a number, please.
What we had 7.
Yep, Sam Gallagher scored for Blackburn last night. That's not the question. Prior to this game, how many home clean sheets on the bounce had Town kept?
Oh, that's good. Good question, isn't it? On the bounce. I'm trying to think, but I've had a few Fosters, so I'm a bit like, I'm going to say 3 then.
Fosters, that doesn't get you drunk.
I know, what's this?
Fosters, I thought we only drank Magic Rock Brewery.
No, come on, Tom. Magic Rock Brewing, that's all we
It doesn't go as far as Folkestone.
The podcast. Look, Chris is on board.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't go as far as Folkestone for me.
You said 3, didn't you?
Tom, but he has tonight with that.
Right, for anybody that doesn't know, like Tom obviously doesn't, but if you go to magicrockbrewing.com and you place an order of more than £40, you get free delivery. And if you use takes that chance 10, you get 10% off. And by the way, Tom,
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It was 3.
Yes, then I'll order some in for the new year.
God, that was smooth, Matt.
That was seamless.
Thank you.
Like I did.
I think I'd make a good game show host with a dodgy tie and what have you.
You're like
Pause.
a young Bruce Forsyth.
Go on then,
Alex
pause.
Bruce, young Alex
Bruce.
Alex.
I was thinking more Paxman.
Paxman. He's a chesty. I'm having no Paxman.
Got
Go on then,
black
pause.
tea.
I'll have number 5, please.
Number 5, you should know this because your youngster will be trying this quite a lot. But in a 2-0 defeat to Sheffield Wednesday, Josh Koroma injured himself trying to do a cross where you bring your striking leg around the back of your standing leg to perform a kick. What is this showboat move called?
Easy pass. I can't believe you're not going to know it.
Oh, it's the old... No, I was thinking of a penalty one, but it's obviously not that, is it? It's the old Rabona.
Yes.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It is a Rabona.
Yes. I always think of Damien Dunn when I think of that. He fell over, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Right, get a bonus point for knowing that as well.
No. Chris, you're next.
What numbers, man? I'm sorry.
You've got 6 and 4.
6.
Who scored an own goal for Watford in Town's 2-0 home victory?
Oh, God. That is so recent as well. What?
It was a proper football nightmare shank shit 90s style goal with a lazy swing. It was amazing.
Was it Sarr?
No.
the only thing I'll say is
go on, pause.
No, go on, Brady. Brady were up first.
No, go on, pause.
No, mate, you take the glory. Go on.
Right, neither of you are getting it. Who wants it?
Etienne Capoue.
Capoue.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
Right, Brady, you can have that one.
Move it to Spanish for 20 million in La Liga's window. Unbelievable.
Going to Emery's team, isn't he, Cosley?
You are?
Going to Villarreal.
Yeah,
See, it's not only you who knows Spain, mate.
James, you are left with number 4. Who made their Huddersfield Town debut in the 5-0 defeat to Bournemouth?
Oh,
An academy player getting his chance.
I paid £10 for that and I can't even remember. First start or their complete debut?
Complete debut, so he came off the bench.
Diarra.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It was Brahima Diarra. So that was November to December and brings us nicely up to date. And it brings us into the final bonus round. So the scores on the doors. Mr. Kosmala has 2. Simon has 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. Tom has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pos has 1, 2, 3. Brady has 3, 4, 6, 7, 9. Chris has 3, 4, and James has 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so this is all about sponsorship, and this may trip Mr. Brady up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw Brady the first one, and if he gets this wrong, either way, he's going to be barred from jumping in, and it gives everyone a fair chance to catch him. But Brady, you get first choice. So your number, Brady, 1 to 7, please.
What have I done to upset you, Matt? I just take quizzes very seriously.
You've upset the Huddersfield Town gods. So David Wagner's not
3.
happy with you. Number 3, I think you might get this. You recently did a shirts thing, didn't you, with, I can't remember the guy's name.
Phil Delves.
Phil, that was a great episode. So if anyone fancies having a look at Huddersfield Town kits and which are the best one, Brady did a decent episode with Phil. When Huddersfield Town were promoted at Wembley in 1995, who was the shirt sponsor?
I was a year old when that was that. 95.
YouTube exists, by the way.
What?
It's on my screen, Brady, if you can see it.
Don't do it.
I know what it
Don't
is.
do it. Dudley, stop it.
Is it? No, hang on.
Come on, Brady. It's easy. This.
You've got 10 seconds.
It's not Panasonic, is it?
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It is Panasonic, or it was Panasonic.
Big sponsor.
Good kit, that.
Yeah,
Good kit.
Great kit.
Good assist there from. Actually, I don't think you could see it. I think you got that by yourself. Well done, Braidhouse. Right. So next, Kosi, pick a number 1 to 7. Although you can't have number 3.
Number 1, mate.
You should get this. You go back this far. Who sponsored the Huddersfield Town home shirts from 1984 to 1986?
I am going to say Daihatsu.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
Yay. Sharif don't like it. Rock the Cosbar.
Yeah, that
right.
We had some big, Daihatsu and Panasonic there. On this, isn't there?
I think it was just the Daihatsu garage round the back of the stadium, though, wasn't it? It wasn't actually Daihatsu
it
was the garage round the back.
We've gone from
they all got a new car, didn't they? They all got Daihatsu.
Gone up in the world.
Oh, dear. Simon, pick a number, please.
2.
Did you say 2?
Yeah, please, mate.
Who? This is really easy and shameful by me. Who was the shirt sponsor this season in the home game with Watford?
Magic Rock Brewery.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
How much % can you get off, Matt?
10% if you use takes that chance 10. And trust me, Magic Rock is fantastic stuff. And I would say that anyway, even if they were a sponsor. Tom, pick a number, please.
1.
Cozzy's had number 1.
2.
Simon's had number 2.
3.
I had 3. If I pick a
We've
number,
had 3 as well. What's going on with these Fosters?
4.
I want a point as long as if I pick a number that nobody's picked.
Who sponsored?
Yeah.
Who sponsored the home shirt versus Sheffield Wednesday this season?
Oh, Chef Wednesday. Bloody hell. That was that.
Or who was on the front of the shirt, I should say.
Oh, was Chef Wednesday a charity one, wasn't it? Was it Town Foundation?
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It was.
Good answer, mate.
It was. Who is next? Pozza the Rosa.
5.
This year's yellow third strip was a nod to Town's away kit from the 93-94 season. Who sponsored the yellow kit in 93-94?
It was the well-known mop company of Violida.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
It was Violida Super Mops. Brady, you've been. Chris, before your battery goes, what?
I've been delivered a charger from.
All right.
Okay.
From Magic Rock.
From Magic Rock, yeah, where you can get 10% off.
Next day delivery, I'm told.
No charges, though.
Especially if
I'll
you're
put an order in now.
6 or 7, Chris?
6, please.
When Huddersfield Town were promoted in 2003-2004, who was the sponsor of the shirt they wore that day at the Millennium Stadium?
Primetime Recruitment.
Thank you. Feliz Navidad.
Primetime Recruitment, bang out of the box. Chris, you have... I think this is quite difficult, actually. This is James, sorry. This is probably a quite difficult one. So if you get this wrong, I'm going to throw it to Simon. Can he catch Brady? 1, 2, 5, 6, 7.
I think can.
No, I don't think he can.
Disgusting.
I don't think he can. James, when Huddersfield Town were promoted on that glorious day at Wembley in 2017, Who was the shirt sponsor worn that day before Pod starts cheating? Shall we block Pod?
Think if you've got achy muscles, James.
Yeah. Was it Radiant B muscle thing or something?
Thank you, Feliz Navidad.
It was Radiant B muscle rub.
I nearly said muscle relaxant, but I think that might be something else.
Right, guys, I'm going to calculate the scores very quickly. Kosi, lead us into a chat about what you want to see going forward into 2020. What if you could wish for one thing moving forward? All of you just say one thing that you would wish for. Kosi, lead us into it.
Boring, really, but just
2021 even.
Back in the stadium, just seeing Pozza at the bottom at South Stand shouting his nut off and just giving. I mean, last night you said it, Poz. Blackburn fans would have been, oh man, you don't get any better than that, do you? 100%. Honestly, even with 2,000 in, get me back in there and that. So it could be a full year plus since we went to a game. It's incredible to think that. 100%. That needle in my arm and just back watching town away at home. That is it. Yeah. Anything else is a bonus.
A bit of a cop out for me because I'm going to say exactly the same as what Kosi said. I think kind of football is arguably nothing without fans, and whilst in its current form we can still support through TVs and such, it's definitely not the same. So as soon as we get back in the stadiums and enjoy it, better for me.
I'm going to say to do a little bit better on the Big Fat Time Quiz of the year 2021 for my wish.
I'd say same as Kosi and Simon, but because I'm from afar down in Kent where it's like danger zone at the moment, I just can't wait to get back up to Huddersfield and have my pre-match drinks. Have my pre-match drinks at the Magic Rock tap room.
Sorry,
nice.
Sorry, Tom. What did you describe Kent as?
Danger zone.
We've lost to a pub side. We've literally lost to a pub side.
Absolute danger, this fella.
You see that 2 points in one there
possible David Wagner's successor.
Right, okay, we'll stop that.
Tom, are you tier 4 then now?
I think we're in tier 4, but might be tier 5 next. Yeah.
Tom's not left the house for 6 months. He's no idea what's going on.
I don't even
survived on Foster's.
Yeah.
Joke, mate. Get your joke out. See ya. Come on, mate. Get it out.
Right, we've got 27.
I'm leaving. I'm not saying it again, Kosi.
Right. What
27 poor
Chris,
souls watching us online, so we'll whiz through this nice and quick.
Hang on, Chris. What are you wishing for next year?
Brady not to have a shirt off on a pod. Go on, Chris.
Whoa. Oh, is he frozen?
Chris is frozen.
I'm just frozen.
As soon as she said that, it's what man, topless, me being topless does. It makes people freeze. I'm going to wish Kosi will like this answer. I would say fans.
Log off by the looks of it.
Kosi will like this answer. I would say fans because I agree, but it's for Danny Cowley to get a job, so stop appearing on every bloody TV.
Yeah, Brady, you were on my Facebook. You know when you scroll down your Facebook,
sending you messages.
Don't scroll down your Facebook. There were an online coaching thing.
Yeah, I've signed up to it, mate. I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, Brady's doing.
Danny Cowley still follows me on Twitter, which I find really weird.
Should have got him on the quiz. You know,
he does everything else, doesn't he? Might as well do this.
Go on then, James.
Like Jacko,
what about you?
For another spell, isn't it?
James, what are you looking forward to 2021?
I mean, I would just say the fans thing, really. I mean, it'd just be good. It's just nice to have just like win-loss draws, quite nice, right? That we've mainly had this year. Just a sort of decent season with some high points and low points will just do just fine for me. If we get back in, then that'd be great. But and anything better than that, then that's great. But at the start of the season, I didn't think that we'd be where we are. So I'm sort of grateful for where we are, and hopefully get fans back in and just have a decent season in mid-table. Really boring one, really, to be honest. Don't think of anything else, but there you are.
Has everyone had a go? Pause. You had a go, didn't you?
I think Chris froze, so maybe you can.
I did freeze. You're right. Yeah, I think we've covered a lot. I think the main one that probably resonates is the fans, and then also, like James has pointed around, look, we should just be grateful for a season of no drama really, and a bit of optimism going forward. I think that's exciting. Just on a little bit more of a bit of a soft one. Just continue the good work of and everyone that we're doing on this pod. Particularly, obviously, I know that people that spend a lot of time with it. There's a lot of people who enjoy it and listen, and the feedback is amazing. So I know particularly you, Matt, spend a lot of time on it, mate. So I think that's something that
you've been speaking to my wife.
Not again, not the last time. No, but I think it's just worth saying. I think everybody's, appreciative of it, and I hope it continues to grow in 2021, mate. So that's just a bit of a little one from me.
Yeah, I want to see some progress going into 2021. I agree with what you guys say. I think 2020 has been a very difficult year for everyone. Today, me and Simon both had to say goodbye to someone very important to us, important to me. Earlier this year, so did my other half as well. And both times we could only stand in the street and watch the procession go past, the cars go past without being able to sort of fully get involved and pay respects. And this has been the case for many Town fans over the year as well. It was hard watching the end of year video as well that the official Town websites posted out, and knowing that a lot of these people had to go through the same thing in a really tough year. And what I'd like to just say is it was very difficult, and I pass my condolences on, and I'm sure you all do as well, to everybody that's lost someone this year, especially, a couple of people that listen to us, Molly and Andy Firth have lost 2 people. We pass on our regards to them as well, and know how difficult it's been this year. And I hope for everybody, not just Town fans and not just people that listen to this podcast, but I really hope that 2021 we can finally get a sense of normality that returns to us all. And I really wish all Town fans, all football fans, the best for 2021, and hopefully we can all get back to normal very soon. And here's to 2021. So to move away from that point, shall we work out who is the quiz guru and who is the shithouse? Basically, shall we just work it out?
That shithouse thing. I don't know. It's going to be tight.
Right, in last place, with the wooden spoon. And I'm starting to rethink whether we should have certain people on the podcast and have a bit of a jig around here, because in last place, in 7th, with 3 points, is Mr. Kosmala.
Oh, Kosi.
We've lost to a pub side. We've literally lost to a pub side.
Absolute danger, this fella.
Listen to a howling roar.
Give us a dance, Cos.
The possible David Wagner successor.
Everyone's attention, begging you to touch.
Send out Patrick Davidson to find out.
Everyone.
Highway to the danger zone.
Max.
Right, enough of that. Right, and also second to last, I'm going to give him a wooden spoon as well, because he's on the podcast more often than not.
We've lost to a pub side.
Dan Porritt with 6 is with 4 points, and then we have a more.
Not a winning match.
I've watched half the games.
It's the taking part that that is true. Actually, Brady. The taking part that counts. I've had fun.
A more respectable joint 4th. We have 2 people. We have Chris Markham and James Whittaker. Both got 5 points and came joint 4th. And now we move into the gold, silver, and bronze positions. Ooh. Who have we got? So, I'm trying to work out which button to press for these people. Let's have the conch for Mr. Tom Bradshaw in 3rd place.
Well done, Tom. Well done.
Tom scored 7 points, and then it was tight at the top. In 2nd place, I'm afraid.
Thank you, Feliz Navidad.
Is Mr. Simon Copland with 9 points, but our winner of the big fat town quiz of 2020 and taking it seriously is the serial naked podcaster, Mr. Brady Frost.
I would joke that it's made my year, but this year's been so crap it's actually true.
Matt, just edit this quiz out when people.
Yeah, we're probably going to lose another 500 listeners on the back of this quiz.
People have stuck with us. We've had decent viewers.
Yeah, we've still got 26 poor people watching online to this
well,
rubbish as well.
Well done for putting that together.
I think they've fallen to sleep, mate. Don't worry about it.
Boris Johnson, there's not much to choose, is there?
Terry Mulak.
I'll be honest, mate, I'm logged in on 4 devices, so that's fine.
Because it's got no whopper.
Oh, no. I'll tell you what, I could just eat a burger now.
Just eat a burger.
Oh, dear.
That's bad.
Sorry, Cozzy.
That is
Love it, Tom. Love it.
Tom, man, it's shocking, mate. I used to think you're a good lad and all, but
Right, so that's it for us guys. So thank you guys all for joining in. Thank you for coming on the podcast and doing what you've done and helping me over the last year and helping Kosi as well get to what we've got to. We've even got 2 shows now. We've got a preview show. So thanks again, Chris and Brady. Brady, especially for all the hard work you put in as well, not just in the podcast, but with the articles that you do to keep churning out content for people.
5 is in the post, mate.
Well, you're not getting that much.
250,
and Kosi sat there in his Liverpool shirt by the looks of things, enjoying life with his
Spanish man. You gotta get behind his
I pressed that button. Thanks to everybody who's stuck with us online as well. I hope you've enjoyed the big fat town quiz of the year, and thanks for joining us every week as well. There's a lot of regulars on there, and thanks for joining us. And it's a good job, Terry. I tell you what, Brady.
Together.
I tell you what, Brady. It's a good job Terry Mulak didn't actually, because if James hadn't joined, I was throwing out the invite to Terry Mulak. He was next in line. And looking at the chat box here, he would have smashed everything on this quiz. He'd have walked it. So maybe next time I'm going to bring in a ringer for you, Brady, and we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Could be on my team and Kozi's team next year. That guy.
You're not
that makes it seem like I've been
placed
placed by Brady to avoid this challenger.
James, after we record.
Never mind,
there. So thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back next year.
We will.
Happy New Year, everybody.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.